Good morning, everyone. Welcome to Comic Artist Pro Secrets. My name is Ethan Van Sciver, 26-year veteran of the comic book industry, world's most charming, elegant, eloquent, humble man. Great to be with you. Great to be with you. Yeah. Very busy day yesterday. Very, very busy day. But, you know, I'm back now. Yeah. All right, so yesterday I went to New York City. I went to Comic-Con. I went to New York City Comic-Con. And it was interesting. I took the drive up. Andrea said it was okay for me to take the day. I mean, that's a big thing, guys. I mean, getting away from the house, getting, going alone. Andrea was like, I want to come with you. I was like, you don't want to come with me to a comic book convention. I know you think you do, but you don't necessarily. Hold on, I'm about to become Superman. How do you like that? These are my drawing glasses. I only use these to draw. Help me to see my way to drawing. And my way to my desk, frankly. I'm getting old. So went to New York City Comic-Con, drove all the way up there, parked, met some friends, and just had a pretty interesting time. Well, when I first got there, first of all, I got up there and I met a friend who's actually a pro, and he had a business meeting to go to. Then I had like this time to spend by myself until Cecil showed up. I was waiting for Cecil. I was waiting for Jeremy. I was waiting for everybody, and we could kind of hang out. So I went upstairs to the dealer hall, walked around, and was just like, wow, shopping and having a very good time, looking at one booth in particular. One booth in particular, and that booth would be the Sideshow booth. I can't even tell you how much I love Sideshow toys. They're so expensive. These toys are for grown-ups. These toys are not for mere mortals. These toys are way, way, way too expensive. So, I'm thinking about what I want to ask for Christmas. And I told Andrea, I just said, look, I'm pretty sure I found it. I took a picture of it while I was there. I'm pretty sure I want this R2-D2 figure. I guess it's not that expensive. $160 is pretty expensive for an action figure. But look how nice it is. And of course it would go with my Jabba's palace. So I actually said to Andrea, I said, I want to show you this R2-D2. I mean, this might be what I want for Christmas. And she said, did you see the Jabba sail barge there? And I said, no. I mean, that toy's like 2 years old. Like, I don't think I would see it, at this convention. They only show kind of new stuff there. And she said, oh, you would think that you would see the Jabba sail barge. Yeah, that Jabba sail barge. And she said it 3 times, which makes me think she's already thought about this. She's already thought about the kind of toys that she wants to get for her husband for Christmas. That's why I love this woman. She's fantastic. So what about it? The convention was crowded as hell, as it usually is. And, let me find myself again. There I am. I walked around and saw Cyberfrog being sold. I mean, people were already selling Cyberfrog books, and they're marked up. I mean, I was kind of surprised. I took a picture of one of them, and the retailer noticed me and said, "What are you here incognito?" I was like, "No, I'm just doing my thing." But this guy was selling Cyberfrog Blood Honey for $105. It really does feel like the 90s. And he said to me, confidentially, Ethan, I'm promoting this. He's like, I've sold 3 of these already. He's like, people are like, why are you putting Ethan Van Sciver up here near Jack Kirby and Stan Lee? And he goes, and I tell him, because that's where he belongs. And I was like, like that, fist bump. Thank you, pal. It was really nice. I mean, people are nice. Andrea was like, I was worried for you. She's like, I'm worried for you going to these conventions because it really is like, it's not just 1 or 2 people that want to kill you. It's a lot of people that want to kill you. In fact, probably most people at that convention want to kill you. And I was like, just think of me as an angel visiting hell. My glory, will straighten all these people out. When you're actually in my presence, you can't deny my glory. you can't deny my benevolence. You can't deny, my ultimate goodness, and I mean well. I mean well. Now, having said that, I did catch a little bit of flack because I did a 6-hour live stream with your boy Zach and Cecil and I think John Malin, where we went through the guest list of New York City Comic Con. There were a couple of people in there that I said, this guy can go F himself. And I actually talked to one of the guys who I told to go F himself. And, he was like, didn't you tell me to go F myself? You spent 30 seconds on a live stream telling me to go F myself. And I was like, first of all, I'm happy that you're watching my live streams. I mean, but second of all, didn't you call me a Nazi? You call somebody a Nazi, you get told to go F yourself. Seems like a fair trade to me. And I was just like, we could be friends after that. And he's like, I don't see the point in that. I don't see the point in us being friends ever. Okay, well, that's fine. Go F yourself then. But most of the time, all right, so here's what happened. So I walked up the top of the floor. I went to a lot of indie booths, and I'll tell you this right now, and this made me sad. I have fantasies in my head of setting up an enormous booth, and selling Cyberfrog there, having a big Cyberfrog banner or a sign, and just having Cyberfrog stuff for sale there. Maybe an exclusive book for a convention that you could only get at this con. The reality is that what they do is they put these guys. It's miserable. I was so depressed. I looked at these guys. They all have their little companies, their little imprints set up. They all have booths. I went around talking to them, and I talked to the guys who do White Widow, which I think is a pretty cool looking book. I spoke to those guys. I got a couple of books off of them, gave them a Cyberfrog. But for the most part, I'm like, yeah, you guys are just sitting here hoping for attention. And it's, you got your books here and you have to be kind of a carnival barker to get people's attention because they're not here to see you. And it's like, I don't think I'm going to do that. I don't think that's going to be what I'm going to do, probably not going to ever go to a convention and set up a Cyberfrog booth. I don't think, anyway. Jason Stevens says, dude, I'm on the road in Japan, but my office peeps let me know that my Cyberfrog arrived in Hong Kong. I'm super excited to read it. Yeah, there are people who are getting it in Hong Kong and other people who are not getting it, who haven't gotten it in Illinois yet, and that makes no sense to them or me. I'm glad that you got it in China. I'm glad that it made it all the way over there. Lucas King says, comic book The Hut Cyberfrog full review is up, and he gave you top marks and high praise. You might be half as famous as The Hut himself soon. Oh, well, good. Yeah, okay, we'll get to that. We'll talk about The Hut's interview, but let me finish the New York City Comic Con story. So, in any case, let's see. So, I kind of walked around. I talked to indie guys. I walked around the upstairs area. They had a lot of print merchants. I was on the lookout for one particular print merchant, and I did not find that print merchant. And I kind of left that area when I got a text from Jeremy who said, dude, where are you at? And he said, and I said, I'm upstairs, and he said, I'm all the way in 1A, which is the other side of the building. He showed me a picture of where he was. And he said, come on over here. There's some people who want to meet you. So I trekked all the way out of there, down the stairs, over to where Jeremy was. And Jeremy was just in the lobby. And he had Nerdrotic. Gary from Nerdrotic was there. So it was great to meet Gary. I have to admit, Gary looks like a star. Gary looks like a YouTube personality in person. He looks like a celeb. So I was happy to see him. Great to see Jeremy again. This is the third time I've got to hang out with Jeremy in person, so we're becoming actual friends rather than just internet friends, which is really cool. And then Jeremy had a whole flock of fans with him, oh my gosh, he's like, there are people who want to meet you. People came in and were talking to me. I gave out some copies of Cyberfrog. I had a bag with me. I brought a book bag. And the book bag was filled with Cyberfrog comics that I could give away. So I gave away a couple of Cyberfrog comics. And then they said we were waiting for Cecil. Cecil said he was going to show up, but Cecil forgot his ticket. He had to double back and get his ticket. So we had time to go down to Artist Alley. Now, Artist Alley is in the basement. And take the escalators down. And as I was taking the escalators down, I couldn't believe it. It was jam-packed. It was absolutely jam-packed with people. And I think that Jeremy was like, hey, you going to talk to some comic artists? Of course I am. I'm very social. I'm a social butterfly. So I went around. I kind of talked to Alex Savia, Terry Moore. Matt Banning, the famous Bat inker. Talked to Dave Finch. Talked to Dan Penosian. Whenever and then said hi to Dave Johnson, which he wasn't expecting. He wasn't happy about it. Hey, I'll go meet anyone. I don't really care. You can talk shit, and I will acquit. I'm still gonna come over and look at you, and say, hey, and they go, oh, Ethan, like that. That's what they do when they see me. They go, oh, it's Ethan, and I go, yeah, the guy you've been talking mad shit about for like 3 years. Here I am. Go around the corner, talk to, let's see, who else was there? Dave Finch was there. Billy Tucci was there. Brian Polito was there. I spent a lot of time with those fellows. Brian Polito talking about his strategy for crowdfunding. This guy is a genius. We have different techniques, different ideas about what to do. He said, one of the things that Zach is saying all the time is that he wants to do shorter books and get them out quicker. So we do 22-page comics, and then we just ship them so that ultimately we're becoming more and more like the mainstream when we do that. My initial idea was just do one big fat book a year, and just focus on it. Give people a lot to do for a year. But Zach is kind of getting into the periodical thing. Zach is just like, no, we gotta put out books faster. So I'm like, the problem with that, Zach, is fulfillment. I'm in the middle of fulfillment right now for Cyberfrog Blood Honey. It is a chore. Fulfillment is a big, enormous problem. And doing that once a year is something I can tolerate because it's 5 weeks. It's going to take 5 weeks to get everything out. So why would I want to do that 4 times a year rather than just do a bigger book and put it out once a year? He's like, it's just all about keeping people energized and enthused. And there's a point to that. Now, Brian Polito said, look, I have a built-in fulfillment center. And, there are people who are going to, be fulfilled through my fulfillment center. And I said, oh, comic skaters? He said, I don't ask them. I like that. He's like, I don't ask them what their affiliation is. I don't care what they believe in. I'm just here to fulfill their comic books, man. I'm here to sell comics. There are still sane people in the comic book industry. Only a few, but there are still some. And Brian Polito is one of them. So I was looking at what he was doing. I was like, you've got a million, Lady Death books here. And he was saying, oh, yeah, what I do is I'll take, I own all of my back issues, so I'll just throw new covers on them, re-offer them, make little changes. I was like, wow, I just realized that I have like 16 back issues of Cyberfrog that I could do the same thing to if I wanted to. Just create like new specialty products, et cetera, et cetera. It's not really what I want to do. I'd rather create new content, but it's an idea. Like the realizing the full implications of being an independent publisher is really cool. Drunken Atheist Studio, thanks for $2, says, just got my Chromium copy in Illinois. Is amazing. Nice. That's good to hear. So it is getting to Illinois. All right, hold on a second here. A lot of people saying F Dave Johnson. Yeah, totally F Dave Johnson. The dude's a douchebag. Jim O'Reilly says, any news on New York Cyberfrog deliveries? No. Look, if you don't have yours yet, I don't know why. It's just because we're not going in order. It's not. They didn't all go out at once. They're going out in batches. And even though some are reaching China, some are reaching Portland, there are people who haven't gotten them and they live in New Jersey yet. And so, I can't really explain that. It's just the way it is. And I don't, I'm not organizing the method in which these go out. I really have no idea. Let's see. Eric S. says 24 pages doesn't equal $25. Well, that's another thing. That's another reason why I don't think we should be doing it that way. The whole thing is, look, $25. We're doing 20. Let's say we're doing 25 pages. Yeah, what do we charge for that actually makes it worthwhile to fulfill? And we charge, at most, you can charge $10 just because it is still kind of specialty. You say, it's $10. Uh, you're going to, if it's a top-notch product and a top-notch campaign, you might make $80,000, and then you got to fulfill that 4 times a year. I don't know. I don't know. I don't know how this works. To me, I'm willing to split the difference with these guys and just be like, okay, so what I'm going to do instead is just do 2 48-page books a year. That way people are going to get 2 books a year, but they're going to be substantial enough. I'm still going to charge $25 for them because that was the original deal that I made with Cyberfrog Blood Honey. I just said, look, it's 48 pages and $25. And I'm telling you something right now, the $25, this is the one thing that's hard about it. Everybody's like, $25 for a book. It goes fast. The $25, 30% of that goes to taxes. Okay? And it's like you still have to print it. By the time, I'm probably making $4 or $5 an issue, which is still good, don't get me wrong. But that's how much goes in my pocket. The rest of it is pretty much on expenses and things like that. Fortunately, we charge enough shipping that, you guys are paying for your own shipping. But yeah, it's like if you whittled that down anymore, it would become kind of, I don't know. Damajanai says, hey man, sorry I missed you. Rolling up to New York today. Oh, have a good time, Damajanai. It's a pretty fun show. It's pretty big. Heath Lawrence says, I'm in Ontario, Canada, and I just got my Chromium edition yesterday. Great book and well worth the wait. I'm hearing nothing but good things, and I'm hearing good things from people who I wasn't expecting to hear good things from. Honestly. I'm hearing things that people are very, very happy about all this. Abaddon 380 says 30% taxes. What the F? Yes. Welcome to the United States of America. 100%. It's ridiculous, dude. It is ridiculous. All right. So what happened? So we went down to Artist Alley. I saw a bunch of people that I liked. I talked to one person in particular for a very long time who I really, really, really admire. And, I used to work with this person. And just talking about what it means to be kind of stuck in corporate comics and kind of get overlooked because, you will get overlooked. I mean, they kind of decide who's going to be a star and who's not going to be a star. And at some point, when you're in your 50s and you're still not a millionaire, you might want to consider walking away from that and doing your own IPs. That's, if you have your own ideas and if that's important to you. I think it is important to a lot of people. And a lot of people are kind of looking at us and what we're doing. And I'm not saying they necessarily want to be Comicsgate. I'm just saying, does it make sense to keep working on Batman? Does it make sense? Does it make sense to keep doing Green Lantern? I mean, when you could actually, into your 50s, your retirement years are coming about. I mean, you could actually own something and make a little money to put away. That's what I say. Okay, so what else? So then, I saw my friend Billy Martin, who's the guitarist for Good Charlotte. He came down the elevator. He was great. He brought me and Andrew to one of his shows in Philadelphia. We got to go backstage and watch the show from just off stage, and that was like the most fun I've ever had because I love live music. That was fantastic, and who was there? Like Nicole Richie was there with her kids. We got to see them. It was a good time. So he was there. He fist bump real quick and how you doing, man? And we should catch up. He's the artist of I think a Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles book for IDW. So he was in Artist Alley. Hold on a second. That's a guy who, if I could, if I was doing a Cyberfrog kitty book, like something like Cyberfrog saves kittens from trees, I would have Billy Martin draw it. He's really, really good. All right, so then we heard Cecil was coming, so we came back up to the front entrance way to wait for him. Told him what door we were at, so he would come in. He's like, I'm in full costume. I'm in just like Cecil and all this stuff, just like Dick in comics. So we're standing there waiting for him, and all of a sudden, out of nowhere, like why this door, why at this moment, I don't know, but it was fantastic. In walks Mark Waid. He pushes through the door, Mark Waid and I make eye contact, and Mark Waid instantly does a little pin turn on his feet and hauls ass this way, as far away from me as he can get, as quickly as he could go. And I was like, Mark Waid, holy shit. Now, nobody knew it was Mark Waid. I mean, I don't know if Jeremy knows what Mark Waid looks like. Cecil knows what Mark Waid looks like, but I'm the only one who saw him. And so I saw that he was wearing kind of a blue kind of, button-up shirt. And I could see his back as he hustled away, like he just kind of penguin walked away from us as fast as he could. And Cecil goes, where's he at? And I said, he's right there in that light blue shirt. Now, I'm not going to go chase him because I'm not going to cause trouble. Like, that's a delicate situation. I'm not going to, what am I going to do, put a camera in his face or anything like that? Not only that, my camera had, my telephone had 10% battery life. So I needed it to make sure I was staying in touch with Andrea. I got almost no footage. I took a few pictures, but I took them sparingly because I didn't want to waste my phone battery. I missed all this stuff. Cecil chased after him, got a picture with him. Jeremy chased Cecil and filmed them getting a picture together. Mark Waid has never looked so uncomfortable ever, but it was so funny. Like, when he walked in, saw me, and went, and then turned and ran away. So, all right. So, I didn't see anybody else. I was hoping to see Renfamous. Even though everyone told me don't bother Renfamous, she was doing a signing. I didn't see why I couldn't go get my book signed. Like, she had her Deadbeats book. And I would have loved to have go purchased one and then gotten it signed by all of the weirdo SJWs that had worked on it. But I was advised by many people to not do that. I was like, shit, why not? It would be fun. And I don't know. Do I regret that now? I knew Renfamous was in the building. I was hoping to get a chance to see her or at least bump into her. And I guess it's the right thing to do to not throw oil on that fire, but she's fake anyway. Like, her outrage is fake. She's not afraid of me. I'm not afraid of her. I would have loved to have met her face to face, gotten a picture maybe. That would have been a reason to break the camera out. And see, like, how she reacted to being, in my presence face to face. I think she would have enjoyed it. I mean, that's who she is. Jeff M., thanks for $10, says, can you offer digital copies for backers or ebooks on Amazon? No digital. I have no plans to do digital at all, Jeff M. I'm sorry. That's just not a model that I believe in. I mean, the whole point of doing Cyberfrog is to create product, not to just give something, give the story out for people to read. It's actually to create comic books. So I have no problem for that. Mitch, or no interest in that. Mitch says Waid would have bear maced you. Yeah, I wonder if he had mace. I wonder if you're allowed to bring mace in there. That El Torpedo says, got my Chromium cover up here in Toronto, arrived in perfect shape. Thanks, Ethan. By the way, I really wish you would drop by Tiny Tim Doyle's booth. I looked for him. I didn't know where he was. And then I kind of forgot he was there. Like, I was upstairs walking around, and I realized I was in this area where there were only print booths. Right next to the small press publishers, it was all big booths selling bootleg prints. And I went, ooh, I'm going to find Tim Doyle. I looked all around. I couldn't find him. And didn't have a program. And then I kind of forgot when Jeremy told me that he was downstairs. So missed out on Tiny Tim Doyle. That would have been another great opportunity. Kevin Smith's Fat says, got my frog book. It's beautiful, Ethan. Thank you. You're welcome. Oh, the other thing about Tim, though, is Tim's a professional victim. And he already issued a police report on me for making terroristic threats against him. I think he really wanted me to turn up and he could be like, Steve, this dude's stalking me. I'm adding this to the police report. I'm being stalked right now. I'm being stalked by a Republican. So, Timecode Mechanics, thanks for $4.99, says, if you want to go faster, do a 48 to 56 page perfect bound. Sign tip sheets and send them to the printer to go into the books and let them do fulfillment. I got fulfillment covered. I really do have fulfillment all covered up. I'm not worried about that, but I like the idea of signed tip sheets. I think that's a possibility. And that would make me go faster. Jedi Knight and friend to Alita says, Mark Zaid is the Trump whistleblower's lawyer. I know. Well, it's perfect for him. I mean, the other guy, the wife beater, that Mark Zaid was fans of. What was that lawyer's name? Who represented the porn star that was suing Trump? I think he's in jail for domestic abuse. So Mark Zaid is the next weirdo MSNBC lawyer to step up and take this, fraud of a case against Trump. He wants to be on MSNBC. That's the whole point. Kenny Jones says, I backed Brian's latest Lady Death. Had a lot of extras on his Kickstarter. Has something for everybody. Little extra money and lots of add-ons. But guys got it on lockdown. Yeah, for real. He's got his whole thing done. I mean, he knows what he's gonna do there. Avenatti, thank you. Avenatti's his name. So Brian Polito is the guy that people are watching right now to kind of go, okay, so we figured out how to market these books to a lot of people. Now, how do we make this bigger? And I think people are looking to Brian Polito for ideas there. I'm listening to everyone, I don't really know. My plans are just to keep going the way I'm going. Maybe possibly add another book next year. It's possible to get Fearsome out there. I don't know. There are also like I said before, when it comes to extras, there's no reason that I shouldn't offer these numerous, extra books that I have, these extra issues of Cyberfrog, these old 90s books with recovered, etc., as bonuses and things like that. That seems like something I might want to do. I was so happy I found these cough drops. So I'm going to take one of these right now before we go any further. This cough won't completely go away. It feels like I have something scratching in the back of my throat. So I got a message from Zach. He was just like, dude, he's like, I really wish that I were at New York City Comic Con. If you can get me a badge, I'll fly in. And I was like, well, I'll get you a badge, I guess. I'm not going to go back. I don't think I'm going to go back. I didn't have that good of a time. My ultimate feeling about it, just walking around the show, was one of sadness. It just feels to me like, I don't know. I don't like it. I walk around and I just look at people trying to sell their books in these tiny booths, and it feels like an antiquated model to me. It feels like people have not graduated to the next step of where to go from here. Everybody feels like, how they say, oh, well, comic skaters and all these YouTubers, they're e-beggars. These guys are beggars in real life. These guys are in real life beggars. Sitting behind tables on metal folding chairs, pretending to be famous and basically begging people to let them draw for them or to buy copies of their books. It just seems sad to me. It seems very, very sad, and I can't imagine that, judging from what some of them say, that the whole weekend's going to be very profitable for most of them. There are a few exceptions. I mean, J. Scott Campbell's got a massive booth, and I'm told J. Scott Campbell rakes it in at these conventions with calendars and posters and prints and original art. He's a good model to follow, but for most of these guys, I just feel bad for him. Angry Spark says, wow, thanks for $20. Says, heading out to the con now. Glad you had fun. Seems like a bigger crowd than last year. Also, please check out Eternal, funding now on Indiegogo. It's 180 pages of badass action and sci-fi from concept artist Greg Semkow. J0074 says, Hail Caesar. Received Cyberfrog yesterday. Cannot wait for Wrecked Planet. Oh, nice. Everyone's getting their Cyberfrogs. Canala says, damn, looks like I chose the wrong year not to go. Yeah, it's big. I mean, it's a big show right now. Max Mercer says, actually, the term is grifter. Grifter, e-beggar. Grifter is the new SJW put down. It's silly. And I think it's the first time I heard the word grifter was Zach calling Mags Visaggio grifter. And then suddenly everyone's a grifter. Danny Rendon says, my mailer came in damaged with my comic sticking out of it. Thankfully, the comic scene's undamaged, though, but when I saw it, my heart sank. I'm getting a few people who are saying they did get, a handful, like 5 people have said that their copy was damaged. I'm collecting those emails, I will get those taken care of. And you'll get you deserve a perfect copy. I mean, look, a perfect copy within reason. For goodness, if you got a little tiny ding on the corner, I don't know. But I mean, if it's really damaged, obviously, I want to make you have a good copy. Your boy Wolfie says, "Are you going to New York City Comic Con tomorrow?" I don't want to. I don't want to. I'm an old man. I just don't want to do it anymore. And I realize I'm younger than a lot of the people who are sitting there, sadly crammed into their booths. But I'm older inside. I really don't want to do that anymore. The Anime Slayer says, "I'll bet you felt liberated seeing them in little booths when you enjoy your YouTube job and sell at the same time." Yeah, one of them said, "I'm surprised you had." They got their. I gave somebody a copy of Cyberpunk, and I don't even remember who this was. Who was it who said this to me? They said, "I'm surprised you even have time to do a comic with all the YouTube shows that you do." And I was like, "See, you're looking at that the wrong way. Okay, you're looking at that the wrong way. The YouTube show actually pays me." So that I don't have to do that many comics, and I can focus on one really, really good one that pays me way more. That's the proper way to look at this. People are in a race to just produce a lot of kind of mediocre work, and I don't understand that. I did 10 comics this year. Nobody cares. Nobody wants them. You understand? Focus on something good. Brian Boland spent 2 years, I think, drawing Batman the Killing Joke, 48-page story. That book will live forever. He spent all of his time working on that comic book. And one day I would like to go through that book with you and show you what it means to actually do a comic book that's going to stand the test of time. And were people saying to Brian Boland, hey man, in the time that it took you to draw those 48 pages, I drew 24 comic books. But nobody cares. I mean, that's the thing. Nobody cares about your 24 comics that you produced that, just fell out of you. Take your time, slow down, produce something that's worthwhile. One thing we don't need is more comics. One thing we do need is better comics. So that's the thing, and that's kind of how I feel going forward about Cyberfrog. Todoroki is a beast. Says, "Ethan, I still haven't gotten my Cyberfrog team up with Variant and Ashcan yet. That's because the Ashcans aren't in yet. So will you ship them both together?" I only asked since I haven't got my comic yet. Yeah, I think they are going to ship them both together. I think initially I thought that we would just ship everything and then ship the Ashcan separately. But that would cost another $80,000, I'm told. They said it's going to cost $80,000 to ship the Ashcans separately. So why don't we just save those comics for last? We'll get the Ashcans in and ship them in. And I went, that sucks, but I understand. Daxamite says, "Couldn't get a Cyberfrog sketch. Artist Alley was insane. I was too tired. Got to meet Gary and Jeremy, though." Oh, that's good. Can you imagine going to Artist Alley and trying to get them to draw Cyberfrog for you? That would be hilarious. Quality over quantity, guys. Cyborg Valkyrie says, "Hail Caesar, hail chat. Don't miss Kyle Ritter on Mitch Breitweiser's stream tonight at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Starblade's in demand on Indiegogo." I love Mitch Breitweiser, but his live streams, nobody attends them. I think Mitch Breitweiser needs to make short videos for a little while, like John Malin is. John Malin losing his live streaming ability has been the best thing for him. Honestly, this guy's doing recorded and edited videos that are devastatingly good. I mean, so good. And I'm hoping people, watch them, and he is able to, get more subs to subscribe. And then, that way when he's able to live stream again, he'll have much, much more, a much bigger attendance. Mr. Zorg says, "Is Rainbow Brood on the horizon?" Tentatively planned for after Wrecked Planet. Yes. Tentatively. The thing about Rainbow the Brood is this. I have to make sure all my bases are covered. I have been told by lawyers now that I am going to get sued for Rainbow the Brood. Now, the damage that I will suffer for getting sued for Rainbow the Brood, and it'll be a baseless lawsuit because obviously this is parody. I'm still going to get sued. So I need to be ready for that. I need to cover all my bases and be prepared. I'm going to lose a little money on that. So I want to make sure I don't lose a whole lot of money, just a little bit of money. So that's reality. Talking Pulp says, "Glad you went to New York City Comic Con because you got to hang out with your boys in real life. I only would have gone to meet some of you. So maybe do your own con, one not of sadness, but of good vibes, camaraderie, and hope for the future of this great medium. Oh, yeah. So actually, that is something that I was talking about. Let's see. Talking to somebody who does conventions, and he's saying, hey, look, do a small one first, and then do Vegas second. So what if we just did a hotel in Philadelphia, and the next year we did a bigger room in Las Vegas, Comicsgate, or we could sort of attach it to a bigger show, like New York City Comic Con's going on. The Comicsgate show is in a hotel close by, so you can do both. That's not a bad idea. Fedigator says, did you hang out with Quarter Black Garrett? No, I don't think he likes me much. He was on Twitter saying, seems like professionals have hijacked this movement. Hold on one second. This cough, I'll tell you. All right, so I don't really know who Quarter Black Garrett is, but somebody told me that he's the producer of Steven Crowder, and he's into comics. But he said, seems like some pros have hijacked this movement and repurposed it for their own purposes. And I think he was referring to me. And I went, Quarter Black Garrett, why don't you come on the stream and we'll talk about that? That's a lot of shit. Twilight Firestar, thanks for €5, says, Ethan, you keep calling yourself old when you're, in reality, you're humble, elegant, eloquent, and distinguished. Love you, Uncle E. Happy you're doing well. Oh, thank you. That's a good way to look at old age. Mitch is the best artist at Comicsgate. Yeah, I kind of agree. Mitch, however, is best artist at Comicsgate, Delia Smith says. Yeah, I agree. Well, he's among them. I really like his stuff. I think he's impressive as hell. And I think you need to be another artist to really fully appreciate how good Mitch is, because he does it simply. I mean, his lines are, you would say, oh, he's not very detailed. I mean, Mitch's detail is all in thought work, and it's really, really impressive work. Jake Foley says, good morning, Ethan. Thank you for destroying John Malin's ability to stream. His edited videos are excellent. Well, you're welcome. And let's all thank Charlie XCX together. Android33 goes, just joined. Why is Uncle Ethan being sued? I'm not yet. I'm going to be sued for Rainbow Brute when I launch it. It's going to happen because Hallmark knows about it. I've already said it's kind of a parody of Rainbow Bright, so I've already put that out there. So I think they're going to try to sue me, and I can't let them. I mean, I can't let them win anyway. It's a parody. I should be able to do that. Umbrella Guy's here. He says, Ricada Law got banned on Twitter again. I saw that. Is it permanent or is it just temporary? It's been a bad week for Weeb Wars. It's been really, really bad. The last 4 charges that Vic Mignogna had filed against these harassers, these SJWs, got dismissed. Hold on one second. Let me go share a stream. That way you can just hear me cough. No, I'm muted. Okay. As I was saying, those last few charges were dismissed, huh? So it's like over. I mean, the SJWs won. When it comes to Vic Mignogna, it's open season for SJWs on voice actors, on Christians, on conservatives. That's what it means. I can't even bear to actually look and see what the reaction is. But I mean, when I saw that those 4 charges were dismissed, I was like, Jesus. JJ Makes Stuff says, see any Cyberfrog cosplayers? Didn't think so. I'm the only one, baby. Looking forward to the hardcover. Ribbit, is that you? Are you the balloon guy? JJ, you're a genius. I'm going to actually, if we do a convention, I want you to be there. I want you to be my booth frog. You should be dancing around in front of my booth. Benjamin Bellamy says, we want Lexus quality comics, not Yugo. Of course. You know. Todorowski is a B says, okay, thanks, Uncle Ethan. Also, people back Starblades. Yeah, you definitely should. Charlie's London says, want to go United States for honeymoon? If so, can we buy you a beer? I guess so. You want to come to New Jersey for your honeymoon? Maybe not. Well, I mean, you go to New York City. That would be an okay place for a honeymoon, I guess. You wouldn't be too far away from me. Tug, how come you don't have a wrench? I don't know. Yeah. No, I mean, sure, we'd hang out. Why not? Umbrella Guy says, Vic's loss equals open attacks, and Nazi replaced by P to the E to the D to the O. That's what it means. You're right. And I saw some of Vic Mignogna's testimony. It didn't look good to me. They asked Vic, they go, is it a little weird for a 50-something-year-old man to be kissing 14-year-old girls on the cheek? And he said, yeah, usually. Not always, though. God. Oh, why am I coughing? Yeah, so when is it okay for a 50-something-year-old man to kiss a 14-year-old girl on the cheek? And he said, when it's requested. I said, ew. I don't like that. I don't like that testimony. Not at all. So anyway. Yeah, so Cecil shows up. We go out to dinner. It was great. We went to a big bar. No, it's like an Italian place with a big bar in it. And we all had a nice family dinner. I learned that Jeremy is a child. Jeremy does not want to eat real food. Jeremy wants very simple food. And Jeremy cannot read a menu. We're in an Italian place, and Jeremy doesn't know, like, carne, pesce. He doesn't know, like, and I'm sure I'm pronouncing those wrong, but he doesn't know, like, he's like, well, I don't know what any of this stuff is. I'm like, well, that's steak, that's fish, and that's chicken. So, what do you want, steak, fish, or chicken? He's like, I want chicken nuggets. And I was like, well, they don't have a kids menu, Jeremy. Jeremy wants tater tots and like chicken nuggets. And he ended up, I said, what's good? It probably, just order the chicken parm with spaghetti. You'll probably like that. He did like it. Yeah, Jeremy can read, but he didn't I don't think Jeremy reads menus. Tinde says, Uncle E, you got the con sickness. That's why you're coughing. Sorry, guys. I hope not. I hope I didn't get, con crud. Con flu. Because I shake hands wherever I go. Thanks for the bullets, impetigo. Please don't think I'm being mean. But why are your fingernails green? Indie Dave Comics says, I met you at Atlantic City a couple of years ago, EVS. Thanks for your support of Oddity. We appreciate it. I want to go back to Atlantic City. And J Pod says, spent all day listening to Steel Panther. Thanks, Ethan. Was it good? The new album is so great. Absolutely loved it. Yellow Flash 2 goes, LOL, why would you get chicken nuggets at an Italian restaurant? I don't know. We're just walking around trying to find a place to eat, and we ended up, Cecil's like, no, I know a bar down here. We'll get bar food. So I think a lot of people were hoping for chicken wings and bar food. But Cecil didn't know where he was, and so we ended up, at this place right across the road that was, it looked like a 4-star restaurant at least. And we went in there instead, and I think everybody was confused. I ordered a 7 and 7 to drink, and it had no 7 in it. It was just 7. There was no 7. There was just 7. And I was like, All right, smart ass. Mr. Zorg says, do SJWs hate Cyberfrog because they think it's connected to Pepe? Yes. By the way, and it's also connected to me. By the way, according to the mainstream media, it's okay for Joe Biden to kiss girls on the cheek. That's a good point. That's a good point. Thanks for £2, says, hey, Ethan, any more portfolio reviews on the way? I don't know. I don't have a plan to do those. I think we moved on from those. I think John Malin is doing better, portfolio reviews right now than me. Cyborg Valkyrie says, you probably killed 8 people. Hopefully Doug was there shaking your hand. Oh, that's not nice. That's not nice. Yeah, I had the chicken. I had the same thing that Jeremy ate. And it was good. It was really, really good. How much did Cecil drink? Cecil had been drinking all day. He only had 2 drinks in my presence, but he was, by the time we got out of the restaurant, he was drunk. He said to me, you're driving home, aren't you, Ethan? So I'm like, yeah, I'm driving home, but, I'm not you. Like, I'll have a glass of wine. I'll have 1 cocktail. And by the time dinner's over, I'll walk out of here stone cold sober. I just need some social lubricant, as they say. To talk to 8 strangers here around a table that I don't know, and who are talking to me about stuff that I'm not sure about. But other than that, I don't want to get, Cecil likes to get sloppy drunk and walk around Manhattan. I don't really, that's not really my thing. Literature Devil says, hey, EVS, I launched my comic Dr. Alpha on Indiegogo. I think it falls within Comicsgate, but I know I have standards to meet. What were they again? Very simple. And it's, they have to be your personal standards, really. You just have to not call your customers Nazis or tell them they're going to hell. And then also try to keep divisive politics out of your comic book. That's basically it. Just try to make it entertainment. You would think most people would understand that and agree with it, but they don't. Let's see. Team USA says, EBS, did you see Joker? No, Andrea and I are going to go see the Joker on Monday. I would go see it myself if she didn't want to go see it, and I'd go today, but I think she does want to see it, so good news. We'll go see it Monday. We'll give you our review. I'm excited about it. I think the movie's going to be great, so I'm going in prejudiced a little bit. People Circus, thanks for £2, says, here's something for your Ebola cough, Uncle E. I hope it's not Ebola. Twilight Firestar, thanks for €10, says, I went to Atlantic City when I was 21. I got drunk at the casino, tried to walk home, fell, busted my head. Police came, I tried to run, fell again, broke a tooth and my nose. Basically, I was a New Jersey girl. Oh my God. Atlantic City, the thing about Atlantic City is, if you leave the boardwalk or the casinos, you are in hell. I mean, it looks like Beirut. It's super impoverished and probably dangerous. Yeah, you got to be careful. I would be running too. Charlie's London says, we're going tonight. Oh, good. Dr. Meatball says, bigger grifter, Mike S. Miller or Edwin Boyette? I didn't know Edwin was a grifter. How is Edwin a grifter? Edwin is just, I don't know what Edwin is. He's pretty funny, though. I watched the new War Campaign last night. They did a pretty good new live stream. And, it was, those guys need to be daily. And, the thing about it is I want to watch War Campaign, and it reminds me that I need to be daily, too. Because I'm not always, lately I haven't been doing daily live streams or anything. I really need to. Cases says, EVS, Cyberfrog was excellent, but I want more. Can't wait for Wrecked Planet. Oh, that's good. Wrecked Planet is going to be totally awesome. All right, let me see here. Where did I put him? Oh, I'll be right back. Hold on. All right. I had to go find my tissue so I could blow my nose. I really am. I didn't realize I was this under the weather, but you know. Um, what I wanted to do is I wanted to go over Cyberfrog Blood Honey and talk about it myself because I figure I got to do that. I want to do it, but I should wait until most people have it. But I want to talk about it and talk about what's in it and what it means and stuff like that. Without giving spoilers, without signaling about what's coming. Just talk about the book. Larry says, EVS, have you drawn the Joker? Of course I have. Yeah, many times. I've drawn the Joker a ton of times. Both as commissions. Most of the time when people came to me to ask me to draw things for them, it was often, I think just as often as they wanted me to draw Flash, they wanted me to draw Joker. Let me see if I can call some up here. It's a pretty simple, prospect to find me drawing the Joker here. All right. Camera 2. Yeah, here's a quick Google search. Let me see if any of these are any good. I like this one. Yeah, I like that one a lot. This is just a quick marker sketch that I did for somebody. I'd go to cons and I'd sit there with magic markers and draw pictures for people. And then of course this is this is great actually. This better not be porn. Okay, I don't see any porn. No, I'm not. You know what? I don't trust any of this. All right, so here's a Batman and the Joker that I did, and I think Moose colored this. Did Moose color this, or did Kyle color this? God Almighty, I don't see a signature. But yeah, this is pretty good. So I've drawn Joker a bunch of times. I mean, I kind of draw a classic Joker for the most part. I've done some weirder stuff. Oh yeah, look at this one here. That's pretty weird. Scarecrow. Yikes. I don't even know what this is. I don't remember drawing that. It's my work, but I don't remember it at all. What is that? Huh. And of course, in DC Rebirth, there's Batman talking about the three Jokers, the three separate, distinct Jokers. I got to draw that. When I was at the show, somebody came up to me and brought me the DC Rebirth, one shot, DC Rebirth number 1 or number 0 or whatever that was, and I signed that. Listen, I still know how to. I know how to treat fans. I mean, fans come up to me and they want something signed. I'm there to do that for them. No problem. That's kind of cool. All right, let me see. Ebola AIDS is the worst. I don't have Ebola AIDS. I'm pretty sure I don't. Further Atlantic City story from Twilight Firestar. Thanks for 20 euros. The police took me to the hospital. I left AMA and tried to walk back to Longport. I turned north on accident. I was barefoot and still bleeding, and 4 police cars pulled up on me thinking I was attacked. LOL. This is the most dramatic story I've ever heard. I mean, that is craziness. Umbrella Guy says, littlest umbrella added a new short tail. Back it. Let's see. John David said, sir, did you get my request tweet? I don't know if I got your request tweet. What was your request tweet? Yeah, I don't know. I'll have to look. I'll have to look at my Twitter. I got a lot of work to do today. So I don't know how much tweeting I'm going to do. I'm going to be watching all the videos about Weeb Wars, though. Oh. So let's talk about the thing that most of the people who are sending me messages are talking to me about. Everybody's very excited and very happy that Comic Book Hut really liked Cyberfrog Blood Honey. People are surprised about that. And I gotta say, I'm also surprised about that. I wasn't expecting him to. He seemed, quite frankly, Comic Book Hut seemed like the kind of guy who was going to pretend he hated it no matter what, just to be funny. Just to kind of be funny. And so I wasn't really looking forward to hearing what he had to say. But while I was at New York City Comic Con, everybody was talking about it. And, I guess that's when he put the video out. So let's take a look at this here. Let's hear what Comic Book Hut has to say about Cyberfrog Blood Honey.
Hi everybody, this is the Comic Book Hut, an amazing, spectacular, terrific, the great one, the People's Champion, your host, the Hut. And now today I'm going to review Cyberfrog Blood Honey, written, drawn, and created by Ethan Van Sciver, colored by Kyle Ritter, and of course lettered by Somni. So now, as you know, there's been a lot of drama around this book. It is many months late. It's almost a year late. And I've been one of the harshest critics about the fact that this book is late. Now, I'm not going to go over everything I've said. You need to see the videos. I cannot take those videos back.
Well, you could delete them. I'm not saying that you have to. I'm not even saying that you should. I'm just saying that it's like, I can't take them back. Well, you were saying some pretty wacko things, dude. I don't know. They don't have to be there forever. Your boy Zach kind of set the model, the standard for this. He would sort of delete stuff that he kind of regretted. I don't know. I'm going back and watching some of his videos now to see what's up. I'm watching a lot of the ones like he has a whole lot. It's me and Mitch Breitweiser. We're the two people that he is that he has decided that he's going to aim his stubby little shotgun at. And he's saying some weird shit. I mean, he's saying that like I have a bookie, that I'm like a mob boss. Some very strange stuff coming out of Comic Book Hut. So he's like, I can't take back what I said.
So I take ownership of the things I have said.
Okay.
And you need to go there and see them for yourself and see what my perspective is, which is from a customer's perspective. And it's been that. I've been very consistent about that. Now, as you know, I had the Chromium cover, which is the first campaign, and all these different great things that come with these trading cards, sticker.
How would anybody know that?
I did a previous video on Wednesday, and you need to check that out. It shows you my initial response to this book. So now I'm going to open this book, and we're going to do a critique of it, serious critique of the story, the artwork. I'm very happy that I have this book finally.
I mean, he's happy about it. You know what I mean? He's happy about it. I love that. What it makes me think is that Comic Book Hut, who I was under the impression, and I'm glad that I was mistaken in this impression. I was under the impression that Comic Book Hut was a relentless troll, to use Mike S. Miller's words. A relentless troll, whose entire purpose was to try to ride the the former Comicsgater, now Comicsgate adjacent bullshit wagon towards YouTube success. Now, when you do that, I will tell you this. There are 200, 300 maybe people who are on that bandwagon. So you'll get that audience. It looks like he has. I mean, he's gotten 333 subscribers. So, there is that. If you try to market to these people, you will make $500. We've seen that happen over and over again. It's like if all you're going to do is badmouth Comicsgate and then kind of market a comic book to that audience, you're going to make $500. So I don't really know why people do this. And I was kind of like Comic Book Hut, if you actually became a serious critic and you actually, weren't a guy who propagated, funny lies about Comicsgaters to incels, to the incel brothers crowd, you probably would do much better. I mean, he does have a great sense of humor. The guy is kind of funny, and I picked him out a long time ago and wanted him to be on Comic Artist Pro Secrets because he was just a fun new voice. I like his whole affect. I like his whole, I don't know. I like his sense of humor. I like his phony hubris. I'm the people's champion. It's like, I think he's funny. But then he kind of went off the rails and became super anti-Comicsgate. And maybe it was just because he really, really, really wanted his copy of Cyberfrog Blood Honey. He really wanted it, and that seems to be the case. So,
waited a long time for this, and I'm very pleased with it, to be honest with you.
Good.
Now, I have, because of the chromium cover, it buckles. And I'm gonna have a tough time going through this without some kind of paperweight. This is why I got this lame Teddy Roosevelt coaster. It's the only thing that's heavy enough for me to critique it properly and not have the book open up. Now, the biggest thing that sort of went online as these books started going out is this fluting. Now, I didn't notice the fluting. I got a flash on the phone. So you see the fluting right here, but it's really not a big deal unless you have extremely...
You know, fluting is going to become the sort of hanging Chad of the comic book industry 2019. I mean, nobody knew what fluting was before, and then like SJWs picked up on it, and now everybody's talking, and then printers explained what it is and what it's called, and now everybody's talking about fluting, and now people are looking at their comic books and realizing, no, it's not just Cyberfrog. Almost every Marvel comic, almost every DC comic has this same problem. We never noticed it until weirdo SJWs tried to bring it up to attack Cyberfrog, because they couldn't attack it on any other merits. You know, it's like, well, maybe the print job is cheap. Print job wasn't cheap. I'll tell you that right now. The print job for one of these books to print cost as much as it costs to actually buy retail a Marvel comic book. So it wasn't cheap to make one of these at all. But okay, so what does Hut say about the fluting?
Light on it, then you notice it. But otherwise, when you read it in a regular lit room, you're not going to really notice it. So here we have all the credits and the dedication to it. And you open it up. And now, now this book is in 3 parts. Part 1, Part 2, and of course Part 3. Now this book opens up on a planet somewhere.
Okay. Anyway, I'm not going to go through all this. He's going to go into spoilers. Let's go to the end and see what he has to say. It's a 28-minute review. You can watch it if you want to. But, you know.
An associate of mine... Tommy Tuba, who's an old associate of mine from the neighborhood. He is also a backer of Jawbreaker's Lost Souls. And I mentioned I had thrown out Lost Souls. I wasn't happy with it.
Wow.
But he's going to let me borrow it once he gets out of the can. He has to do it. He has to go to a parole hearing.
Tommy Tuba's in jail.
He crazy to get himself out of the can. And you know. This is what happens when you scratch up somebody's car. Allegedly, he says. And then punches a guy out because the guy... I'll get into it when I do the review of Jawbreaker's Lost Souls. And I'm going to mention something that had happened, obviously, over the last few days with Weirdo Richardo.
Oh, God, he's still going after Zach.
Video I do of him. Because I think I owe it to you to show you my thoughts on Jawbreaker's Lost Souls. I know it's late, but once I get that book... I will go through it, and then eventually I'll send it back to Tommy Tuba. I'll tell you why they call him Tommy Tuba, and hopefully you'll get to watch that.
What the hell are you talking about?
And again, that's it. So please subscribe to this channel.
All right.
And I want to.
Where are your closing thoughts on Cyberfrog?
Let me know what you think in the comments section. And please, there's no real gore in it. There's no like. It's not going to pollute a kid's mind. I know that some of the SJW books have that. There's no politics in the books.
There isn't.
There's no drama that's going around with the creator inside this book. Now, the future of this book is determined upon the kind of story he wants to tell. The story is the most important thing.
Mm-hmm.
Artistically, it is great.
Wow.
Except for that one page. The story is good.
Except for one page?
And the writing needs improvement. But it's not major improvement. It's really just a little tweak here and a tweak there.
That's right.
Well, thank you for watching this video, and please let me...
Well, you're welcome. All right, so I did watch this already before. I watched it all the way through. Just spellbound by Comic Book Hut. Just being thrilled by every aspect of this, and his criticisms were very minor. Most people go through this and they just go, they want to give me a writing lesson. And they go, don't you understand this is supposed to be 3 acts and blah, blah, blah. I'm like, well, you can look at it that way. I want you to reevaluate. I want you to reevaluate all of your complaints and issues about, the structure of Cyberfrog once all 4 books are in. I want you to go back and read the whole thing, and then ask yourself if there's still structural problems with Cyberfrog. It's not really episodic, honestly. It's the first 4 books of Cyberfrog are going to be one complete story. And I think one thing that happened, I can be a little bit of a troll too. One thing that happened from this is people getting upset that Cyberfrog Blood Honey closed up, when it did. I mean, it just kind of ends. They felt like some people feel like it ended suddenly. I think I should do that all the time. You know what I mean? One of the biggest things that people complain about The Sopranos, the closing of The Sopranos, was that it just, look, the guy pulled the plug suddenly. You have to make up your own mind and interpret what the ending of The Sopranos meant. But for me, when I first saw it, it just seemed like, he just pulled the plug, and hey, screw you, it's over, and in a way, I kind of like that. I would like to get people involved in a story and just end arbitrarily when I want it to end. Sorry, we're on page 48. It's over. You're going to have to wait until page 1 of the next issue to pick up the story. And why not? Why not do that? Why do we have to do things? Why do we have to do things like the same old way all the time? It's like, okay, we're on page 48 and all of a sudden it just ends. And you go, wait, what happened? Well, you're going to have to wait. You'll pick up the rest of the story on the next book, People are saying Tony got whacked. Yes, he did. That's my assessment, too. Tony was killed. I love The Sopranos. Absolutely love it. All right, let me see here. We got Mark C. says, The Hut reminds me of one of Fat Albert's Junkyard Band. What? Why? Christopher Arcella says, Hey, Ethan, it was a great honor to meet you and hang out with you. I will send the Jean Grey statue to you on Monday. Hey, Chris. Yeah, Chris is one of the guys who came out to dinner with us. He's a great guy. A lot of fun to hang out with Chris. Sean Bohini says, I got my issue of Cyberfrog. It was truly amazing. Wow, thank you. That's great. David Harvey says, why is this guy dry snitching on Tommy Tuva? I don't know. What a punk ass. Don't do that, comic book hut. Don't snitch on your friend, You got to just keep your mouth closed. Jack Straw says, check out Tug's prints on Etsy, dropping link in chat. Oh, I didn't know Tug had prints on Etsy. That's good. Ink for Incorporated says, where's God King, Ethan? It's coming. Matt Wanger says, if you do a con, I will be there. Oh, really? Matt Wanger, you would be a guest. John David says, respectfully, and gives me $2. Hold on a second here. Somebody says, take a jab at the Hut. I don't want to. It's just unnecessary. Like, Comic Book Hut is, I find him to be entertaining. I wish you were on the side of Angels. He's got the wrong idea. I think when he's coming after like me and Mitch and Zach, you got the wrong idea, dude. You're on the wrong side here. Get on the side of the good guys, and there definitely is a side of good guys and a side of bad guys, in my opinion. Get on the side of the good guys. You're funny enough. You don't need to be hanging out with that crowd. All right, let me read some more super chats here, and then we'll get back to the show. Here we go. John David says, I want to make a Mummy News video parody. Okay, do it. And then he said, respectfully. Yeah, absolutely. Get Down Demon says, Comic Book Hut is crazy, but he loves him some Cyberfrog, and he really loves him some Caesar. But who can blame him? Caesar is sexy as hell. I agree. And honestly, here's the thing. It's all love for me and Comic Book Hut. He blocked me on YouTube. He's like, I hope Ethan likes my video. I hope he, I want to know what he thinks. Well, Comic Book Hut, if you're watching right now, I can't respond to you. You blocked me everywhere. And I don't know why you would block me. What are you afraid of me for? I wouldn't hurt you. Let's see here. I'd like to be able to talk to Comic Book Hut. Drew, a.k.a. Mr. E, says, I think you did great with Cyberfrog Blood Honey. I gave it an honest review, and it was top quality across the board. Hey, Drew, I watched your video, too. It was great. It was great. Thank you. Lucas King. I sat there. Every day I look up Cyberfrog reviews just to see what people are saying. And for the most part, they're great. The reviews are just, people are ecstatic with the book. They realize where the time went. That's the main thing. People go, why did it take you so long to draw? Look at it. What do you mean? It took me that long to draw that book. There isn't a bad panel in the book from my perspective. It's really like the best I could do. Now, you could get a super artist like Jim Lee to go over it and say, well, I don't like any of this. Well, okay. It's the best that I could do. It's better than anything I've ever done before. And really all I can do is measure myself against myself and past performances. Cyberfrog Blood Honey is excellent. And the people who I showed it to at New York City Comic Con, the pros in Artist Alley, it silenced them too. I mean, it's even people who don't like me got that book and were just like, oh, yeah. I mean, it really is great. It's a good piece of work. And again, people's complaints is they want to see me pick up and get that second part out. I'm going to do it. I'm going to get it done really quickly, too. I'm going to work really hard on it and focus on it. Lucas King says, read my Cyberfrog twice, but looked over at 100. Oh, thanks, Lucas. Appreciate that. Dr. Mantis Toboggan says, 2019 Artist Pro Secrets word is fluting. Yeah, it's like everybody knows what fluting is now. So what is fluting? Fluting is when the printer doesn't let the ink dry on the paper quick enough. And so the paper kind of expands and then contracts. And it catches the light in a certain way that makes it look like the paper is wrinkly. Or not wrinkly, but like it has trenches in it. It's hard to really describe until you see it. But yeah, that's what fluting is, and we're all learning about it together. Especially me, who doesn't know much about printing. Camel Moon says, where would you do a con? I'll definitely be there. So we're just talking about it for next year. I think Andrea and I would do it with a little bit of help. We got to figure out a way to do it to pay for everybody to make it profitable. And I think the best way to do a convention is to, and you guys tell me what you think about this. Hold on, let me finish reading Super Chats. We'll go back to the convention. Egg Chen 6 Demon Bag says, did you watch my review, Uncle E? No, I didn't see it. I don't think I saw your review. I'll look for it. Mark C says, forget Tommy the Tuba. Everyone says Petey the Piccolo is a squealer. Tommy the Tuba. I love it, man. The East Coast people are the best. Absolutely the best. All right, so I think like the best way to do a convention would be to crowdfund it. Obviously, everything has to be crowdfunded. But what we would do is, you would buy your ticket. So, we would say, hey, admission is however much it is, and you can, if you back the campaign, you're buying a ticket to the convention. And that way we would have all the money that we need in advance to fly in certain people. Like we need to fly Zach in, give him a hotel. We need to fly in all of the comic skaters that you want to meet, make sure they have a hotel room. We need to rent the place. We need to do whatever we need to do to run a convention. So we would get the ticket money kind of up front. And I think also it would be good because people who might not be able to make it, but who still want to donate can donate. We could make special packages and things like that. And be able to make the convention actually work, or at least break even. So Andrea and I would probably take that on as a project. I was like, I think we could probably do it and do pretty well. We might even be able to make a profit on it if we're the ones who put it together. That's what we're thinking about doing. So we would just we would crowdfund it. You'd be able to buy your tickets in advance through Indiegogo. And maybe we'd have special packages where you could get, I don't know what yet. I'm not really sure. Posters. I'll let you in on a little bit of a secret. Should I tell you this? Yes, I'm going to tell you this. We are, Zach, me, and Malin are talking about right now. We're anticipating this convention, and we're talking about what we could do. And we are talking about doing a crossover book that's exclusive to this convention. That would probably be a giveaway or be something part of the package for when you back the campaign. Graveyard Shift, Jawbreakers, Cyberfrog, Salamandroid crossover book. 22 pages. Each of us would do, or 21 pages. Each of us would do 7 pages of artwork. But we're talking about producing a comic. Zach's going to write it. It would be Zach's choice of artist for his 7 pages. Then me and John, we would do 7 pages as well. And so it'd be a chance for me to draw Graveyard Shift, Jawbreakers. It would be a chance for John to draw Jawbreakers again and Cyberfrog and Salamandroid. And these books would be just exclusive. We'd print them up for you guys, and we'd sign them for you. It would be great. It'd be fun. And other people could do the same thing. I would recommend that they do. We have exclusive stuff there. Really, really nice merchandise. And just make it. I mean, the key thing about getting a Comicsgate convention together would be to find a way to get you guys to plan ahead, to get you guys to come out, because Comicsgaters are all over the world. There are maybe, I don't know how many of us there are. Maybe there are 10,000 of us, maybe more. I'm not sure. But getting everybody to converge on one location to have a good time, that's something that we got to consider. We got to give people enough time to buy tickets, to be able to fly in or find lodging, all of these things. We need it a year at least, maybe even more. But it would be a lot of fun. And imagine this. I mean, I would not gatekeep this convention. I would be like, everybody's welcome. Anybody who's associated in any way with independent comics or Comicsgate can be there. Even people that I personally despise would be allowed to be there, because it would be entirely about the fans. 100% about the fans. Camel Moon says, would you guys be looking at portfolios? Of course. Yeah, we would be doing everything that you would get done at a convention. Mike the Collector says, there's a copy of Cyberfrog on eBay for sale, signed by John Delarose with a peen sketch on it. I sent it to your Twitter DMs. Yeah, John Delarose did a stupid review. I mean, a brain-dead review of Cyberfrog Blood Honey. And he opens it up by going into the sketch page and being like, I'm going to do a sketch, and he draws a penis, which is, okay. I mean, that's pretty funny. And then he does a stupid... John Delarose doesn't know half of what he knows. I've forgotten more about writing comics than John ever knew or ever will know. John's comic books are terrible. I've read them. He is a lousy writer, and he's not a nice guy. And he's a troll. He's a relentless troll who wants to attack people so that he can roll over and play the victim all the time. And that's his methodology of getting support. And is it working? My question for John Delarose would be, is it working? And by working, I mean, are you selling comics? No. It doesn't look like you are. Mike the Collector, so good job. Let's see, thanks Mike the Collector. Brett Norman, thanks for $10. Last time I'll ask, and sorry if you've already answered this, but do you have a possible 2-month window for when we will be able to start funding hardcover classics? I think it's going to be within 2 weeks, okay? I think it's going to be within 2 weeks. I really do. Yeah, so don't worry. We need to get it done. We need to get the campaign going so we can get this thing done and out for Christmas. That's important. Let's see. Yellow Flash is here. He says Flying Sparks is dog shit though. Yeah, it's. I don't want to say anything about the art. The art's fine. It's serviceable, but Flying Sparks is a horrible name, dude. I mean, it's just like you read that and you go, this is not going to be good. This is a totally unimaginative name for a superhero, and then you read it and you're just like, this is shit. JDA is going to be on Killstream next week. Well, that'll be good. He belongs on there. Yeah. Some people, look, we got some disagreements. I disagree. Flying Sparks is one of the best Comicsgate products. Okay, I mean, that's one of the things. There is something for everybody's taste. But yeah, I don't think he's very good. I've read his stuff. I just don't think he's very good. I'm sorry. I want him to be good. It's a shame. He says he's the best Latino, what does he say? Hispanic comic book writer. That's not cool. I'm sure there are better Hispanic writers than John Delarose, or else, I don't know. Jake Foley, thanks for $5, says, hit me up if you need any help setting up the convention. When the time comes, I'm located nearby and can bring a few buddies. Hey, great. Yeah. So the question is, where do we want it to be? Do we want it to be in Philly? Do we want it to be in Vegas? I guess the first one should be, centrally located and inexpensive. I don't want people to have to, pay too much to stay there. So I want it to be in a place where hotel lodging is inexpensive, flights will be cheap and easy to get to. And that's, these are the things that I want to consider, because I imagine we'll have people coming in from England, we'll have people coming in from all over the place, so we want to make sure it's easy to get to. There have been some places where it's like, you want to make it like a hub, an international hub. So Philly would be good. New York would be good, but New York conventions don't do very well unless they're New York City Comic-Con, traditionally speaking. Eskimo Phono says, have the con near Malin. I wouldn't mind that. Hawaii would be great. We would love to go to Hawaii. Vegas is my number one choice just because I would love to hang out in Vegas. I do love Vegas. EA says Thailand or the Philippines. Probably not. Albuquerque's cheap. Yeah, everybody wants the convention to be right in their own neighborhood. Atlanta's not a bad idea. Literature Devil says, help me take the crown. Has the best Hispanic writer. As the best Hispanic writer. Check out Dr. Alpha Miracle Child on Indiegogo. So Literature Devil has a book called Dr. Alpha Miracle Child on Indiegogo, and he's a Hispanic writer. So I would say, even without even looking, I can tell he's better than JDA. Without even looking. Much better. Hammer says, did you teach Jeremy how to eat? Porterhouse steak and a big frosty beer? No, we didn't. They had two different choices for steaks. They had a bone-in ribeye and they had filet mignon. And filet is always the last steak that I'm gonna get, because even though it's really, really good, I mean, filet mignon is tender. It's wonderful. It's too small. Like, you can never get a good sized filet mignon. I really like to get a big, fat, gigantic steak, and they didn't have a porterhouse there. A bone-in ribeye would have been okay, but I didn't like the fact that I only had two choices, so I just went with the chicken parm. And I didn't teach Jeremy anything. Jeremy still eats the same way. Holly Bear Inn says, have your convention out west. I want to come. See, that's the thing. Yeah, Vegas. Is Vegas out west? Is that out west enough? Kung Fu says, EVS loves hitting those crap tables. No, blackjack. I would play blackjack. That's my favorite thing to do. I love it. Moobot says, E is way fatter than Cecil. As it turns out, no. Maybe. I don't know. Somebody said to me, they said, Ethan, everybody says you're fat. You're not fat. That was like, you've had too much to drink, I think. We took you out and showed you a good time. You've had some drinks. I'm pretty fat. I'm not that fat. I don't think it's the first thing you would say about me. First, you would say he has lovely skin. He has beautiful, piercing blue eyes. Charming man. Smile that lights up the room. A little heavy, but in a Santa Claus kind of way. It's not the first thing you think about when you see Ethan. It's like the fourth thing you realize when you see Ethan. You go. He's got a charming smile, bright blue eyes. He's got a nose like a doorstop, but he's also morbidly obese. It's like somewhere fourth on the list, I think. FP Sunny says, EVS, you're just big boned. Hey, Zach's in here. He says, Chicken Parm, Times Square, and Bubba Gump, you're all tourists from Wisconsin confirmed. Dude, what can I tell you? We didn't go to Times Square. We didn't go to Bubba Gump. We went to a nice restaurant. Where was it? 39th and 9th Avenue. 39th and 8th. Something like that. It's pretty good. Let's see. Hammer says, EVS, how much are Cyberfrog prints? Can we buy them all? Thanks, Caesar. I don't have any Cyberfrog prints. I don't have any right now. Yeah, you would say squeezably soft, sunbeaming skin, a jolly level of fat. First thing you'd say is, look at that 5 head, says Dr. Meatfall. No, because I'd wear a hat. I'd be wearing a hat. You wouldn't notice it. Peter Allen says, you are a large man, hefty. David Mogg says, cuddly. Ani64 says, humblingly thick. I like that. Heavily humble. Uncle E is just thick. LMAO. Cases says Uncle E lost a lot of weight since 2010. That's true. I was 300 pounds in 2010. I'm like 2000 or 2000. I'm 260 now, so 40 pounds down from then. But yeah, let's see. Fizzy Matrix says you are a sexist, racist, misogynist, chauvinist, and I have no proof. I am not racist. Let me make that clear. Sexist, misogynist, chauvinist. You can make an argument. I stand behind that. Comics Matter with your voice act says Battletoads Prince. Yeah. They're still saying Battletoads a little bit. No, you know what? It's calmed down. I'm not seeing as much dissing of Cyberfrog by these people since it's come out. It used to be your little Battletoads ripoff. It's like, it's clearly not like Battletoads. It's nothing like Battletoads. I told you that, you idiots. These SJWs, oh, it's just a Battletoads ripoff. No, it's not. It's a Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle ripoff crossed with Walking Dead and something about bugs. It has nothing to do with Battletoads. But it is like Turtles. And I created it. When I created Cyberfrog, I went, this guy belongs with the Turtles. Like, he'd be an ally of the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. And eventually, I'm going to get it. You guys just watch. People say, you'll never get to cross over with the Turtles. Oh, yes, I will. And they'll beg. They'll beg for me to cross over with them. And what I will do is I will say it's the future. All the other Turtles are dead. It's just going to be Raphael. Donatello is the last living turtle. Old man turtle. Micah D2 says, how do I collect all the cards? I only have 2. Well, that's all there are right now. There are 2 promo cards. You look at the back of the package that those 2 promo cards came in, and it tells you to expect the complete set. Now, the complete set is coming. Let me see if I can show you this. I don't mind doing this. October 2nd. This must be the most recent thing about that. Now, what the... Hold on a second. Let's try that again. Islands in the stream. That is what I am. Alright, let me see this right here. Everything is a nightmare of confusion. Alright, forget it. I'll find it another time. There's going to be a trading card set. Okay, so that's what those promo cards are. They represent 2 sample cards for a promo set that's going to have sketch cards in it. It's going to have 18 base cards. It's going to have puzzle cards. It's going to have autograph cards. We're going to release them on Indiegogo soon, and they want me to do it like pretty soon. The trading card company. I'm like, slow down, slow your roll. We just put up the line art variants. Vampirella, it ends pretty soon, and that's a serious thing. I mean, we gotta talk about getting this to close out pretty well. Vampirella #1 red foil variant closes in 4 days. I'm gonna probably blast out like a reminder to people about that, so that you can get one of these before it ends. The original Cyberfrog Vampirella crossover is now selling in some places for $100. They're out of print. You can't get them anymore. This is the new ones. Vampirella #1 by Christopher Priest and Ergon Gunduz. That's the interior. It's got an exclusive cover from me. And of course, on the front here, there is the red foil. The red foil looks just like this. I mean, it's really, really pretty. It shines. You can get silver. You can get gold instead if you want. And, don't miss out on this. The link is in the description for this. Also, we've also got Cyberfrog Blood Honey limited edition line art variants. These are already printed and ready to go. They're printed and ready to go. You are going to get your choice of one of these. They're in the warehouse. We've only got 1,500 of each of them. Let me see how they're doing, by the way. 105 of these ones sold just individually. 66 out of 1,400 of these sold. 56 of the team up cover. We sold 16 uncut sheets of promo cards. That's not bad. And then we sold, wow, 333. People want all 3 of these. That's probably the way to go, I guess. So we've still got about 1,000 of each of these covers. So if you want to pick up one of these, do it. This is going pretty quickly. Wow, the Cyberfrog proof copy. This is the original first printing of Cyberfrog Blood Honey. By the way, this is a much thicker copy of the book. It is on heavy paper. It's not on magazine stock. It's on heavy paper. There are only 250 of these existing. And yeah, it looks like we've sold 150 of them already. So if you don't have a Cyberfrog Blood Honey proof copy, you guys did ask for me to make them available to you, and I did. And wow, you've bought 150 of them. It's crazy cool. Thank you. So the links are in the description for all of these if you want to back and support them. That would be great. But yeah, these are what we're doing right now. I guess when Vampirella ends in 4 days, I'll go ahead and launch the trading card campaign. I got to put that campaign together, and then probably within a couple of weeks, we're going to launch the hardcover campaign. And I think the hardcover 1990s Cyberfrog collection, which is going to be called Warts and All, is going to be a big deal. I think people are really going to like that. Now, personally, how do I feel about it? It's going to compile all of my old work. I mean, it's going to be here is all of the work that I did when I was, 1920, a teenager. But it's expensive. Those books are if you buy them on the secondary market, they're really, really pricey. So why not just, for people who are curious and want to read them, let's compile them all in a nice hardcover book that's going to look really, really good next to the hardcover book of Cyberfrog Season 1 that you're going to get. I think that would be a nice thing to offer you guys. So I'm going to make that happen for you, and we're going to get them printed and probably in your hands by Christmas. So anyway, Micah D2, those cards are going to be coming up. I'm going to put them up there. You can buy some cards. They're going to come with cool original art sketch cards. You're going to get 2 per pack. I mean, that's the thing. 2 pieces of original art in every single pack. All right, so if Nino Miko says, Rekieta Law is planning a BoomerCon. Why not combine forces? A good idea. Also looking forward to getting my copy of Cyberfrog. Well, I'm looking forward to you getting it too. I don't know if I want to be part of BoomerCon necessarily. I want it to be a comic book convention, but it's an idea. It's something to think about. I mean, we can watch what he does and maybe learn from it a little bit. Let's see. Mark C says, Ethan, when somebody asks you for Cyberfrog prints, you sell him a poster. Oh. Okay. Todd Lehman says the con fund better if combined with Geeks and Gamers. Well, it would be interesting to get Geeks and Gamers there. I mean, I would consider, some of these YouTubers, we would treat them like celebrities. You want to meet Jeremy, you want to meet, Jeff Hicks. You want to meet these guys. We would just bring them in, and you could, we would have posters for them to sign for you. I think that would be kind of cool. And Geeks and Gamers would definitely get involved. Aaron C says, do your convention in Vegas on the Adult Film Expo weekend. Ultimate misogyny. Is that misogyny? Is porn misogyny? Feminists like porno. I never understood that, but they like it. Otto Mata says, Raphael keeps Donatello's cybernetic head in a jar. See, that'd be cool. I would love to get the turtles. That Umbrella Guy says, today I'll be streaming for a local charity event, 100% paid for by local business, including Tug's YouTube, showing the good Comicsgate does. Tune in. Well, that's interesting, Tug. I would like to see you, I would like to see that. That'd be kind of cool. It's No One says, says Ukraine whistleblower attorney is Mark Zaid. Same guy? Yeah, it is. It's the same guy. He's like an ambulance chaser for political hoaxes. I love it, man. I love Mark Zaid chasing that. I'm going to fight. You just want to be on MSNBC and you just want to just glower, about the president. Good luck to you, you idiot. You're going to lose that the same way you're going to lose the Mark Wade case. Mr. Morden says, EVS, don't use cough drops. Stop drinking alcohol and caffeine for 1 week. Drink 1 gallon of water a day. Drink ginger tea, no sugar, and take naps. That sounds good. I'd like to do that for the rest of my life, actually. Except for the part about no alcohol. You know. I'm going to drink tonight. I need it's Saturday, you know. I want a day to just kind of... I want a day to watch Humphrey Bogart movies and get drunk until I'm stupid and pass out on the couch. Why couldn't that be today? Dallas Deadeye says, can you imagine the war campaign table at Comicsgate Con? Yes. They'd be invited, of course. Everybody would get to meet each other, and those of us who are afraid of one another can stop it. You know, it's like, look, war campaign's funny. Go hang out with war campaign. Go meet them. Adrian Stone says, and Werther's Originals. Those are for very old people. Werther's Originals, you know. Yeah. I don't know. It's going to be fun, guys. We got big stuff coming up, big stuff to plan for. And what can I tell you? I'm happy as hell. Everyone loves Cyberfrog. Even the comic book hut was converted. Those who are pretending not to like Cyberfrog are lying. And that's funny to me, too. Of course, it is a wonderful book. I'm really, really happy with it. I've read it 100 times now, and it's great. Johan Zeke says, what if your table is next to Tim Doyle? That would be hilarious. I would love that, you know. Let's invite Tim Doyle to Comicsgate Con. Come sell your stupid friends here. Come sell your art at Comicsgate Con, Tim Doyle. It'd be great. War campaign booth would be one of those giant sumo suit areas. You know what we should do? We should have like a we should almost do like American Gladiators. Remember that show where people would get up on they would have like those foam padded, you know, sticks that they'd fight each other with, fully padded. We could do a Roman Gladiators thing. I would dress like Caesar, you know, and I'd be sitting up at the box, and I would give people the thumbs down, you know, thumbs down, go ahead, kill him. And they would have fights. We would just do Roman gladiator events. Micah D2 says, oh man, gotta collect them all. Thank you, Ethan. Yeah, people like the cards a lot more than I thought they would. Hut did too. Hut was just like, I love these trading cards. You know. It's awesome. Charlie's London says, we would 100% be there. I want to meet all the comic skaters. Yeah, Tug might come. I mean, you know, we get Yellow Flash. Those guys would have to be in disguise. Cecil would come. You know. Star Tiger says, Ethan, how many pages of Wreck Planet are done yet? 6. 6 out of 48, you know, so 42 more to go. Charlie's London says, we would... Okay, I read that one already. Joel C says, 1 sexy vamp variant equals 634 backers versus 9 variants, 53 backers. EVS, king of the grifters. Thanks. Yeah, those covers are beautiful. I don't grift. I offer great product. You can buy it or you don't have to buy it. Yeah, I mean, look, I promise you this. You're going to have fun reading Cyberfrog. We're going to offer you all kinds of extras along the way that you're going to be able to collect because you were here from the start. If you're here from the start, you're going to be able to get everything. Some people are going to hop on the bandwagon a little bit too late, and they're going to say, how come I can't get the Cyberfrog Vampirella covers? Because you missed out. You weren't here. Some people are going to say, how come I can't get the trading cards? Because you missed out. You weren't here. I think that we'll keep the hardcovers in print probably, but I mean, things like that. Yeah, the Cyberfrog card game that's coming out. I took a look at that today. That looks pretty great. You know, all of this stuff, you got to be here to do it. We're going to do action figures. We're going to do statues. We're going to do everything. We are going to do an animated straight to Blu-ray movie. Why? Because we can. You know, because we can do it. It's going to be great. Doug is reviewing Cyberfrog right now. Okay, let's find out what Doug has to say about Cyberfrog. Hold on a second here. Why do these people torture me? Let's not jump to any conclusions. Let's find out. I don't want any drama. I want to keep my... Look, you don't talk about me, and I won't talk about... Okay.
One of these plastic...
Hold on one second here. I want to switch to camera 2. And on we go.
One of these protectors with the sheet on it. The comic itself is so thick that it barely fits in this thing. And this is going to go into a lot of what I have to say about the paper stock on this. I see Mr. Dead in his pockets here. Hey, isn't that Devin Graham? And then there was another thing. This is another comic backing.
You got 44 people watching, and
with the trading card set.
1188 from us. We're stream sniping you, Doug.
It comes with window sticker, which is a quality sticker. I'm not in love with that image, but it is a good sticker.
It's iconic, Doug.
And then bookmark, which is kind of standard fare for crowdfunding, is if you want to add something that is related to books that has your character on it, you put in a bookmark. I think some people are getting tired of this, but it's just kind of you add it. To me, it's kind of
Why is he obsessed with me?
And then this is what surprised me was they were all packed in this as a protector, which I think is a really good idea.
Yeah.
And then here's the trading card package. This is very...
Now, Doug got drunk and he said he spent more on his trading cards than I spent on my entire book. He was cursing out my book. Doug, as you can see, I spent the exact same amount on my trading cards as you spent on yours. Just FYI.
Professional looking. This is obviously professionally made. He didn't just throw a card in there. Comes in a nice wrap. I can't tell. It looks like it's printed on foil, but the artwork didn't take advantage of the foil, where you can really see through the artwork, which usually means you don't want so much opacity in it. You want more transparency to let the foil come through, because you're printing it. This is expensive stuff. Foil is expensive to print on. So that's what I think. It says it's a full set, 2 cards. I've heard a lot of complaints about this campaign. Some are legit, some are not. And really, it goes into a whole philosophy of what things are worth. What is this worth? And money is abstract, especially today, when you look at what something is worth. There is not an absolute value to this thing outside of what it costs, which might be $1. So what's a bookmark worth? What's a bookmark worth? You can increase it more if it gets like 1 speck of hair gel from Johnny Depp on it. Suddenly the bookmark is worth more. So it's all abstract.
Well,
so
it's
a lot
free
of the
though.
talk of finances, which when I say this is a fraud, you can't quantify that. It is not even empirically true to say. It's worth what people pay for it. It's worth if people.
Did Doug just say this is a fraud?
That's what it's worth.
Did Doug just call Cyberfrog a fraud?
And so if someone loves this, you're right. And if someone hates this, you're right. Because it's almost entirely, it becomes pretty subjective. This thing is worth X amount on eBay. And I see this, by the way, completely applies to my own books. I'm going to show you this. Here's a book. This is made of molecules. This is made of molecules.
Right.
And
but nobody's talking about yours and everyone's talking about mine.
And if PewDiePie wiped his butt with this book, it would double its value. Same thing with this. This is worth X amount. And factors that go into this is the quality of the story, quality of the art, quality of the print job, and then here's the real unknown factor. The amount of YouTube fans that you have or celebrity can instantly double, triple, quadruple, make this worth 1,000 times more. Same with this. This is worth X amount. There's only, say, 4,000 made of these. If this thing became a TV show, each of these would be worth thousands more. Same thing with this. This is worth X amount on eBay. And then if it became if Ethan landed a TV series and just did not print any more of these, this could go up in value astronomically. It becomes very abstract. If you compare the artwork...
What exactly is he saying here?
I'm lecturing my daughter, Olivia, over there. If
she looks thrilled, dude.
If you compare the art ability of Ethan versus the Superman #1, Detective Comics #1, which is worth, like $40 million or whatever, you're not judging the quality of the art in Superman. You're judging that there's only one made. So I'm just making my case. Everything is abstract. And it's not that important, really, because to me, The story is what's important. And the book is what's important. Some people value the fandom more. And
Doug is pissed off that Cyberfrog is now sitting at $932,000. And Doug's campaign ended at a respectable $817,000. I don't know why he ended his campaign. He didn't really have to. He could have kept it going. I did that with a character that nobody knows about. He did it with Earthworm Jim, you know. And he can't let it go. I don't know why he just won't let it go. Like, we've decided not to talk about each other, and yet he talks about me every day. He talks about me every day. I don't understand. What am I supposed to do with this?
You know,
he really, like, and the thing about it is that I really do think that, you know, people start to find out. It's like, you know, not to sound arrogant, but if you're talking about me on your channel, you get clicks. I mean, it's like, if you're with me, you get support. If you talk about me on your channel, you get clicks. So what do? You just talk about me all day long.
I did read the book, though. So let's get into the actual book now that I've talked about the value. I'm just going to point the camera down so you can see what I see. I'm going to show, you know, whatever I think is appropriate to show. I'm not, you know, I'm just going to show.
God, that thing, the book looks beautiful.
And what I think works about this book and what I think doesn't work about it. And I have no idea if my camera's picking this stuff up. But the first thing is, when I pulled this,
we got caught. Somebody said I'm stream sniping.
I was super impressed with the foil chromium cover. This has always worked on sucker comic book fans, for which I'm one of them.
Sucker comic book fans,
which has his logo on it, but there's something really cool about this that I like too, and I'm learning about this a lot in printing process, which is the embossing. There's like a groove going around it that gives it a great
I know, I'm
depth.
hoping he doesn't spoil it at all.
You can feel it raised, and then on the
You know.
front, it's got a clear coat on it, so that you can't feel
He says he
anything
won't
smooth.
spoil it.
It's the same thing on the front cover, which has it's almost like an engraving that's been cut into it, and then and you can feel it raised on the back, and then on the front there's a clear coat on it, so it's smooth. This gives it, and this laser gives it this foiling gives it a great depth. Yeah, I'm so on Cyberfrog's design, but that's a matter of opinion. It really,
it's a great looking character. I love the way Cyberfrog looks.
What this is really saying is this is a throwback 90s book for
Not
which
really.
The foil stuff was just going crazy. It's very Ninja Turtle-y.
Yes.
I traipse in the same era with the Earthworm Jim stuff. This is kind of
Christopher
where we
Spirit
were
Flutes
at
over there going,
but
such lovely
some of the
hands.
Tekken stuff has a modern twist to it. So that's it. The cover stock is great. Here's the sign book. This again is where a lot of value comes from, because the signature is what fans want.
It is
They want
dope, Adrian.
connection to
I
the
have to admit,
creator.
it's a beautiful book.
And then this is.
I'm very proud of it.
This is a copy of the cover on there. I haven't seen this before, where someone put the paper stock in here, but I think
Yeah, it was my idea.
that's something a fan could really dig.
Yeah, I like that idea.
And then here's the paper quality. A lot of people have already bitched about this, and I kind of agree with it. I think what's in Richard Meyer has said, no, the cheap stuff's thicker. I don't know if this is cheap or not, but it is clear that with this ribbing, again, I'm just repeating what other people have said, it can't handle the ink. It especially has a problem with large black areas. So, but to me, it's not a deal killer. And by the way, neither is a book being late a deal killer. I think you should almost, on Indiegogo and stuff.
People really like Doug's hands.
These are small-time producers, very small print runs, and there's going to be a lot of missed dates. Just like
Dr.
these
Meatball
come
says it's
late.
very
These
Ninja
come
Turtle-y.
very late.
Doug Tenaple, put that quote on any future reprints. I will. He does Earthworm Jim. That's Ninja Turtle-y too.
Of Indiegogo and Kickstarter projects.
It's like saying Batman is very Superman-y. Those guys created a whole standard new kind of superhero.
Weakness of the business. I think it's just like small guys dealing with small projects and then dealing with our postal system, I'm shipping my book a month early. There will still be comics shipping late. That's just a fact of dealing with reality. Those final deadlines are estimations. And to me, the bottom line is, if you eventually get the book,
if you eventually get it,
it has been, the contract has been filled. So I bought this book. I'm not a fan of Cyberfrog. I don't even know what it is. It's more, this is my thank you to Ethan bringing me on his show. I bought this, and I bought one from a second campaign. So I want to help the campaign if they're helping push my books. That was, to me, that was
You're welcome.
Just something that I think is right.
You're welcome,
so
Doug.
Real quick, go through this. So forget the paper stock. If this is 3 comic books in one, this is 3 complete stories. You'll see it, it's separated by chapters. It's like chapter 1, chapter 2, chapter 3. And so it really is, this is 3 complete comics. Look, here's part 3 right here. This is a full, what I would expect if I bought an Image book in the 90s. And sometimes, let's see, there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 10 unique pieces of art in that. That is often what you get when you buy an Image comic. It was full of ads, it was full of 2-page spreads, there was very little story, and what they were really selling was a great chrome cover. This is a 90s comic book. I think it's a little thin and weird on story. Guess what? Every story I ever read from the 90s was the same thing. I never read a 90s story where I looked at it and went, oh, the character.
By the way, that phrase, that word stands, gets on my nerves.
It was never that way. By the way, I do actually see that in Mark Waid's work. He actually is a good writer. And ironically, writers, aside from content of how the guy acts, the guy knows how to write. And it's actually really hard to write comics.
Soy Bomb isn't in that issue.
So, a lot of this story, to me, I started reading by the 2nd or 3rd page. That's really when I start judging a work, and I'm reading all the text.
Catsley 56, pay attention, it's coming.
It does.
Skid Racket says, you like Doug's backhanded compliments?
While,
yeah, watch. This is a 90s comic. It's thin on story.
Your head's in the material. That is the job of a story, is to pull you in. And I think the story does that.
157 people watching, Doug.
And again, it is a jumble of statements, of characters saying things, and not all the events are in sequence. And that also is not a detriment necessarily to the work. To me, it's part of the genre. You jump around a lot, and it's kind of, characters pop up. There's no explanation why this one guy gets kicked in the nut and killed, and then he sprouts wasp wings in one panel and he's dead.
There's an explanation for it. It's just not in that book. You have to read between the lines there. Look at what the characters are saying to each other, and then try to work it out. There's a secret about that thing, Doug. See, the one assumes the book's going to continue.
I looked at it and went, that's kind of the way comics do things. Here it is. This guy, first you see him attacking this girl, and then Cyberfrog throws his tongue around him, and in this one panel, he has wings. You know what this is? Normal comics storytelling. I assume it's saying that he has been taken over by the wasps and the Vespas.
Spider-Man not no, he hasn't. Spider-Man not Bug Boy says, I'm a sucker comic book fan. More foil covers. Dude, you're gonna get them.
Need to be more explanation than that. If you want to hold the audience's hand, and
I don't want to hold their hand. What I want to do is I want to say things, and I want to make them say, wait, what does that mean? And then I want to tell them a little bit more later. Again, that sequence means something completely different than what it looks like, and you'll see.
This book would suddenly be a lot more broken down panels explaining things. And so that's just a writer's license. but it's normal. I think this is infinitely more readable than Graveyard Shift, which I read.
Oh, shit.
I will say that the jutting events as you go around, it was a little exhausting, and by the third
Joel C. says, shut up, Ethan.
I was getting kind of broken up and lost to a point that I was caring less. But I don't see, there's no way I can say that this broke some law that comics does not know. All of this stuff, these word balloons and stuff, this is 90s Image. This is Wildstorm.
Hell yeah.
This is what all of them did. So I think it's pretty normal. I do think Kyle Ritter's colors are absolutely amazing. And Ethan's artwork, while it's probably over detailed, it's his style. So this is just kind of what he does.
And Doug's hands, while they're crawling with disease, that's just his style.
Do all this live.
Gotta just accept it.
This is an amazing two-page spread. Again, Image, 90s, was all about the two-page spread. But some of the things that I like about it is this bottom third here.
Row.
Big.
It's good.
Simple,
Hold on, Queen Bee
strong.
gets me to pause this. Every day I wake up to Cyberfrog Blood Honey is a day of joy. Make no mistake, it is a classic. My unstoppable Cyberfrog. Thank you, Queen Bee.
Foreground image, and then way back here with crazy detail and Kyle's colors giving it depth. Just an amazing apocalypse is what you're seeing. This is when he first kind of comes back and sees the Earth getting just wiped out by these wasps.
Am I too defensive about Doug TenNapel?
And then this was a cool thing that I really love.
He's just so passive-aggressive at this point. I'm like, I'm defensive.
Ethan loves rulers. He does like straight panels and stuff like that. When he
I do not.
went in and hand drew these panel shapes overlaying each other, it's really impressive design. And even these moments within, they don't necessarily make sense. They're just monster wasps showing the horror. But really cool shapes. That is great art. So that's really my review overall. Is I don't know if I would back the next one. This material in the back is what fans love to see. Big posters, and then the black and white version of it by Ethan. It has some of the backstory history. This is I think it's normal stuff to see in comics. So overall, if he had printed this on thicker, better paper, it would not fit in this. You'd get a perfect bound book. It'd be thicker. This already feels heavy. There's a lot to it. So I don't think he spent enough money on this. That is really none of my business. That's my opinion. And that is purely subjective.
It's 100% inaccurate. I spent the money I had to spend.
For a crowdfunded comic, I think this is what the fans want. If they're into cyberfraud and they're into EVS, this is what you want. Given Ethan's art, if he cares about his art,
Joel C. says Doug liked the book. He's playing it down. Charlie's London says Queen Bee is all we need to keep in perspective.
Richer blacks, more impressive images, and because this paper can't hold this much black ink in large areas is where the rippling starts to begin. You can hold
That's
it
absolutely
better.
true. Yeah, I have no
fans, but there are fans who do not care.
Yeah, I have no idea about printing. I'm learning things about this.
Business regarding the fluting, we all become like comic snobs suddenly about this material, when really this is about fans of Ethan and fans of cyberfraud.
Jesus, that book is beautiful.
And I'm not a big fan of Ethan outside of. There's something that is really important about this book. And this is that for fellow creators out there, this is one way to do it. Before Richard Meyer, and Ethan, and Icarus and the Sun, and Way of the Stick, which raised $1.2 million on Kickstarter, and Earthworm Jim, $800,000, Bigfoot Bill, Mike Miller on Lone Star, Sean Gordon Murphy's coming, Brian Polito's Lady Death. What Ethan really proved is do the crowdfunding and create a TV show that everyone loves. It's similar to Rusty Cage does it too with Requiem. Was it Requiem of the Crazies? If that's what it takes to get your book out, then that's what it took. Ethan showed you that is one way to do it. You don't have to do it his way. No one should be able to convince you that you can't do it. There's too many people cracking this thing 1,000 different ways. I know a guy, David Cumbo, he's getting video game licenses and doing small children's books of them. His goal is just to lose money on like the cover and doing amazing laser embossed work. That's one version. Use your YouTube channel to put on a show. My take on it is I just want to show people the monetary value and the thickness of the book. I want my books to come out like furniture, so when you get something like this, it feels solid and valid.
Doug, you're a millionaire. The thing about that is you keep showing that you've spent every penny on your book and you didn't accept a profit on your comic. And that's kind of cruel of you to do for those of us who are not millionaires, for those of us who are actually trying to make a living on our comics. It's cruel of you to present that idea that people shouldn't keep some of the money they make from Indiegogo and the selling of their books and instead put every dime of their money into the presentation of a hardcover book. This isn't a comic book. This is a this looks like a sketchbook that somebody threw a comic book into. This is not a comic book. This isn't something that people are going to CGC grade and keep and worry about the condition of. This is something else. It's a graphic album, and I understand that you spent all your money on it. But, I mean, most people are trying to actually make a living in comics, and therefore they should provide what they promised, which is what Cyberfrog did, and try to actually earn some money at it. And over and over again, I see you saying things like, people can do it by themselves. That hasn't proven to be true. You couldn't do it by yourself, Doug. You couldn't do it by yourself. You had to come to me. You had to come to me for help to get Bigfoot Bill funded so that you could put out this graphic album that would convince people that maybe it was a good idea to let you trade your video game royalties for Earthworm Jim in exchange for the right to do the graphic novel, which is what you ended up doing. The idea that absolutely anybody can do this themselves doesn't seem to be true. Everybody needs a little bit of help, and there's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with wanting to be a part of Comicsgate, to be part of a community that is goal-oriented to help people fund their comics, to protect people from bad actors within the comic book industry, the politics and the things that actually exclude them. So point of fact, this idea that anybody can do it, don't let somebody tell you can't, is encouraging, and it sounds good, but it's also, it's disingenuous, and it's a weaponized phrase that's meant to peel people away from the supportive group and the power of Comicsgate. And I think that you're doing that. You, of course, at this point, now that you have Earthworm Jim, you can do it by yourself, now that you've got your character back. But Doug, I'd encourage you to go back to your teenage years and to look at what happened to you with your comic book Earthworm Jim, or with your character Earthworm Jim, which was taken by you by manipulative people. Okay, people manipulated you into signing away the biggest thing that you'd ever create in your life. And people made billions of dollars off of your IP. People manipulated you and stomped on you, and you didn't get to make the money off of that you should have. Doug, let go of that anger. Don't, in return for that, become a manipulator who wants to do the same thing to other people. Don't answer your own suffering and your own failures early on, and it was awful what was done to you. Don't answer that with a campaign to stop other people from succeeding. What Comicsgate is a guild and an organization and a cool little club for creators to all get together, work together, promote each other, build a gigantic audience, build enthusiasm, so that people can get funded together. Why you want to peel these guys off and ask them to go do it alone when you couldn't? Explain that to me. I don't understand why you're telling other people to do that when you couldn't. I don't understand why you want people to fail. I appreciate your review of Cyberfrog. You know, it's nice, full of backhanded compliments. Message received. I got all your messages. But what Comicsgate did for you, Comicsgate wants to do for everyone. And I think it's you're doing a disservice to your fellow creators by encouraging them to go out and do it alone when they could just, jump on the life raft with us and help us row together. And I think that would be great. I think that would be really, really cool. All right, so that's how I feel. That's how I feel about it. And I watch what he says, and I'm just like, why? Why do you? And I know for a fact Doug goes and talks to people and goes, you can do this yourself. You don't need Ethan. And you try to create like anger at me. Look, again, Doug, what did I take from you? What did I take from you? What did I take from anybody for this? What do I take from people? Absolutely nothing. Absolutely nothing. I just really would like to see people do well. I'd like to see Comicsgate organize to become something that could compete against the mainstream. As I went to New York City Comic Con and I drifted around the independents, and I didn't meet anybody who was Comicsgate. This is why I was like kind of sad. I was like, I don't want to do this. Like I don't want to have my own little booth at one of these conventions. These unaffiliated independent creators that together, if they grouped up together and became, an army of indies together, would do good work. Especially assuming that, their comics were good, and I can't say that many of them were, but, they would become a force to be reckoned with within the mainstream, or an alternative to the mainstream together, rather than just individuals floating through the ocean on little pieces of driftwood, eventually doomed to sink. Stop poisoning people. Stop poisoning people with resentment. Stop poisoning people with, just paranoia. I know you're talking to people. I know you're talking to people like Mike and being like, you don't need Ethan. You can do this on your own. Ethan wants to hold you back because you're a Christian. No, I don't. I never did. I wanted Mike to succeed because I cared about his family. Some of these people are their own worst enemies. But I wanted you to succeed too, and you did, and you got what you wanted, and I don't know why you want to hurt people on the way out who don't have your money. You can say you don't need Comicsgate. From your standpoint as a multimillionaire, you don't need Comicsgate, you say, happily secure in your mansion. Other people are trying to keep their homes. I don't know, guys. You tell me. You look at this and you tell me what you think of this. All right, let me read these super chats. I appreciate you guys. Yeah, that was a weird bit of streaming. I really didn't even know what to say to that. All right. Catching up. Eric Lavoie says, did you watch Just Some Guy's review? Yeah, I did. It was heavy on the kind of criticism of social media. Only like the last half of it was a review of Cyberfrog, but I appreciated it. I like his thoughts, always. Peppermint Oil Capsule says, multiverse crossover. Cyberfrog meets original English Cyberfrog. P.S. Been to the P.O. box lately? Sent you a Rot of the Hutt, the movie, a.k.a. Clone Wars. I haven't been there. I'm going to have to go find it. Jake Foley says, LOL, he's critiquing this thing on a microscopic level, trying to calculate the quantum value of a bookmark. Oh, Doug, Well, especially since that stuff was all free. That wasn't something that anyone needed to pay for. That stuff was all thrown in, as a bonus on top of the comic book. Jake Foley says, such abstract, much subjective. And Eric Lavoie says, stop talking about Doug or you are giving him oxygen. Jack Straw says, Doug's binding is trash. Pages fall out after reading it a couple times. Charlie's London says, is he doing this to build or burn bridges further? Seen Bigfoot Bill go from 150 to 75 on eBay, yet I've seen Cyberfrog go for 150 in a London comic shop. Doug, stop. Spider-Man Not Bug Boy says, I'm a sucker comic book fan, more foil covers. Diablo AZ says, have all the chromiums been shipped? No, not at all. I mean, we're halfway through. We're about halfway through. Aaron Verkin says, you and Doug should just have coffee together. Why? You know what I mean? It's like the thing about Doug is it's not a personality conflict. Doug talks about like not liking me very much. I never did a goddamn thing to Doug. There's something wrong with Doug. Doug is somebody who I think resents having been part of Comicsgate, resents having to ask for help, and I truly I don't understand Doug. I think also the thing about it is that Doug wanted a clean exit from Comicsgate and we didn't give him one, so he's angry about that. He was going to use War Campaign as an excuse to leave Comicsgate on moral grounds and couldn't do it. We didn't let him do that. We didn't let him get away with it. Queen Bee, I read that one. Charlie's London, Queen Bee is all we need to keep in perspective. Joel C says Doug liked the book. He's playing it down. I don't know. I don't know if he liked it. I think I think he doesn't want to get. I think he wants to send me a message of passive aggressiveness without kind of getting hit by the fans. Automata says, I respect everyone's opinion, but I say that Doug's hands are immaculate, and I think every review of his work should exalt this fact. His hands look good. Jake Foley says, a weirdly specific but ultimately gentle review. Shadow King, Doug thinks that we didn't spend any money on that comic. Doug, I don't know what to tell you. I paid my taxes. I took the remainder of that money, and I put a lot of money into that comic book. That was an expensive book. Shadow King says, Bigfoot Bill is furniture. I use it as a doorstop. Queen Bee says, Cyberfrog Blood Honey is a physical book that people will now take into their lives, hearts, collect, and treasure. A wish and hope fulfilled. Mission accomplished, Ethan, or EVS. Thank you for 3 Cyberfrogs there. David L. says, yeah, Doug, he made your dumb comic $80,000 the last night of the campaign. I think $40,000, but understand, I made Doug $200,000 over the course of his campaign. He was on my show every single night. Every night Doug was on. We started out the campaign together. We launched it together. We carried it out every single night. And I brought Doug attention. I mean, Doug got to know a lot of customers who didn't know who he was. Charlie's London says, if Doug used Comicsgater's money to buy the rights for Earthworm Jim, it's technically a Comicsgate project, right? Be interesting to find out if that's the case. It's up to you to decide that. Doug says he's not Comicsgate, but believe me, everybody else would tell him he is Comicsgate, and that's the conundrum of Comicsgate. You might as well just embrace it. Diablo Arizona says, I bought both Chromiums, the Team Up, both Vamp books, and the 3-pack line art. Keep it coming. Oh, well, thank you for all your support. David L. says, we love you, Ethan. Frog Pie, and then Soy with the trebuchet. Luke Aglietta says, Doug is super passive-aggressive, jealous that Cyberfrog made more money than Earthworm Jim. Speaking of money, Doug won't get more of mine. Can't wait for my book. Mr. Cobblestone says, have all the Team Up covers been shipped, Caesar? No, not all of anything has been shipped out yet, guys. If you haven't gotten it yet, be patient. I know it's frustrating to see other people getting their books because it feels like all of them should have been shipped at once, right? And so everybody is going to kind of get all their books at once. That's just not the way hand-fulfilling works, So, let's see. Aaron Verkin says, will you please stream tonight? I'm streaming now. I'll stream tonight too. Maybe I will. Evan James says, everyone cut Bigfoot Bill into 2-ply squares. No, don't do that. I still like Bigfoot Bill. I like that comic. Still do. I'm just sad about all this. I don't get it. I didn't understand Doug's viciousness. And people have kind of offered me theories about it. It just is what it is. I never meant Doug any harm at all. Doug kept it. Here's the thing. Doug would say, well, Ethan called Earthworm Jim homophobic, and that's not what I said at all. I mean, I went over that a million times. He called Comicsgate controversial, and I just find that to be like, I'm protective of Comicsgate. I don't think we're controversial. What's controversial about anything that we say or do? If anything, the mainstream comic book industry is controversial right now, objectively speaking. So somebody who's actually close to Comicsgate and saying Comicsgate is controversial, I say the nay. We're not controversial. We are the good guys in this fight. I have to stand up for Comicsgate. So that's how it is. Jim N says, Doug and Mike just do not get East Coast attitudes and personalities. Well, what's so different about my personality? I think Adrian Stone says he drew First Blood. Yeah. EA says, you did tweet out that Earthworm Jim is a homophobe. LOL. No, I didn't. That's not what I said. I know that was deliberately misinterpreted by people. But Doug said, I got to get away from Comicsgate because it's too controversial. And at the same time, he's out there tweeting all this stuff about wanting to... He's like, I wanted to use Comicsgate to be my army to fight the Rainbow Coalition. Well, Comicsgate isn't here to help you fight gay people. I'm sorry. So if you're saying those kinds of things and saying Comicsgate is controversial, then surely what you're saying then is that what you're saying isn't controversial and you're applying all that to Earthworm Jim. So does Earthworm Jim have room for those kinds of views? And he took that to be, he took that the wrong way. If Earthworm Jim, we're not anti-gay, and that was a big problem for Doug. So the question is Earthworm Jim anti-gay? Is Earthworm Jim a place where you can go and you feel comfortable expressing your views, which are anti-gay? Now, if that's the case, then okay. But Comicsgate is not anti-gay. We're not. We care about, everyone who wants to buy our books. So, that's all. Just calling them out on some hypocrisy there. D loves all things, and the answer should be no. Earthworm Jim is not anti-gay. That should be the answer. And then the question is, then how come you could coexist with Earthworm Jim and not with your brothers and sisters at Comicsgate? D loves all things says, Ethan, even though you don't like the word community, Comicsgate is a community. You guys are like a second family to me. I care about you guys. We care about you too. I don't like to use the word community because I feel like it's emotionally manipulative. It's like you, by saying to somebody who doesn't necessarily feel the way that you do, that Comicsgate is a community, it implies that you have a duty to us, that, you have to protect and stand up for your community. And I don't want to be that way. I don't want to put that on anyone, but to me, I feel like it's a, kind of a community too. I like to use the word family. I like to use the word club. I think club is good, yeah. Because, a club you can, club is just, it's a little bit looser, I don't know. Clubs have dues, though, I don't know. Who knows? Who knows what it is? It's just kind of nice. Robert Romano says, Comicsgate has done a lot of good. You've done a lot of good for a lot of people, and I'm certain you will do a lot more in the future. You're a good man, and don't let anyone tell you different. It does help me that the people who say that I'm not a good man are bad men. They're bad people. I'm like, I have to say, I know my own motives. I know my own heart. And so, and also Andrea knows me. And so she's like, Andrea gets more upset about this than I do. She's like, why would this happen? Because she talks to me about this all day long. And I'm talking about, how I can't wait until this happens and this happens. When Doug got Earthworm Jim back, I was so happy because he told me he wanted to do that. That was his whole plan. And I thought, well, this is great because this is a great success for Comicsgate because, now, we have Earthworm Jim as something that we can kind of brag about. And it was like, no, you don't. It's like, you don't have Earthworm Jim to brag about because I'm going to make it very clear to you that I hate Comicsgate and screw you. So, that was kind of shocking, shocking. Felix Lazarus says, I saw his joke at the beginning, cyber fraud, blood money. was breaking balls. He quickly said, "I'm just kidding." Well, I missed that, and again, Doug, settle down with that bullshit. Darth Vetter 04. Thanks for $5. Says, I only backed Douchebag Doug's book because of your push on his last night of campaign. He never sat well with me with the way he behaves on stream. Dude, he's like 10 years older than me, and he acts like he's like, I don't know, man. He acts like he's in his 20s, and he's so grouchy. And again, I think it's because of the way he was treated. I think Doug has a chip on his shoulder because of the way Earthworm Jim was stolen from him. I mean, imagine if, like, you created the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. Earthworm Jim is not the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, but imagine if you did, and you gave it away at this stage of the game. Like, imagine if I gave Cyberfrog away right now, or somebody talked me out of it and took Cyberfrog's rights away from me, and then Cyberfrog went on to become what Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles are. Billions and billions of dollars. I should be a billionaire, and I'm not a billionaire. You would be. How would the rest of your life go? How would the rest of your life go from there? And when you look at what happened to Doug TenNapel, then that makes a little sense. It just kind of makes a little sense. Can you sympathize with that? I mean, I can. I can completely understand. But at the same time, that's no excuse for being not a nice person. Eric S. says it was not stolen from him. He sold it. Well, there's another distinction. 3D Robin says, I'm not sure it's billions. I don't know. I don't know what video games do. Nolu says, bring on Wreck Planet Pie Boys, that all of us anti-Christians can make it $1 million campaign to shut his Hollywood pie hole. I don't know. Look, I don't want to expect anything out of Wreck Planet. I'm not even thinking about the money. I'm not even thinking about that kind of money. I'm thinking about just making it good, because here's the thing: these people are always looking for something to slam you on. So if Cyberfrog Wreck Planet makes $1 less than Cyberfrog Blood Honey, then it's a failure. It's like, that's the thing. So I'm just gonna say I'm not expecting much. Let's just let's just do a good book. Let's just do a good sequel, and then let's look to the future, which is video game, animated movie, and all that stuff. Little Peep Peep says, whatever happened to Robotoad versus Cyberfrog? I don't know what that is. What's Robotoad versus Cyberfrog? Yeah. Leodar says, Doug should have just let Earthworm Jim go and moved on. I think it killed his creativity. He sold it for millions, says Checkpoint. I don't know. Yeah, sometimes you do have to move, let it go and move on. But then again, look what I'm doing. I'm doing the same thing that he's doing. I mean, I didn't have a successful character. Cyberfrog was just the first thing I created in the 90s, and my first comic book, and I'm doing it again. He never became a video game. He never blew up into anything. People don't know Cyberfrog. They go, what's Cyberfrog? Cyberfrog was sold entirely, I think, based on some cool artwork and people connecting with me on YouTube. So I'm going to give this guy a chance. I'm going to take a chance on Ethan. And I think I hit him hard. I think that Cyberfrog book is a statement. I'm proud of it. I think people who decided they would take a chance on me are happy they did. It's a beautiful comic book. Every time I see it, I'm happy. I don't want to do a hardcover like that, Doug. And by the way, I said early on, do you guys want this in a hardcover? And people said, no, we want to CGC it. We want it to be a comic book. The whole point is a comic book, not a graphic album. And we'll get to one, but it's going to look better than that. That looks like a sketchbook to me, like one of those sketchbooks you buy at like Hobby Lobby, and then you kind of, I don't know. Peppermint Oil Capsule says, being English, I'm curious about Romney Marsh Cyberfrog. I don't know why I did that. I have no idea why I did that. I can't even remember doing that. I always thought Cyberfrog was probably landed up in Poughkeepsie or, up in upstate New York, and then worked his way down to New York City as his base of operations. I don't know why I initially thought he was British. That's very strange, Let's see here. Big super chat from Trevor Wright. Is Comicsgate anti-God? You did say that being against gay marriage was hateful. You are essentially calling God hateful. I didn't care for that, to be honest. Everyone needs to be able to express their views freely. Did I say that? Did I say being against gay marriage was hateful? Did I ever say that? I don't think I said that. I think I called Mike's views stupid. Let me just say, Mike's views are open to interpretation, but the way he expresses them are stupid. He does it in a way to hurt people, and I think that's stupid and divisive. Everybody needs to be able to express their views freely. I agree. I think it's a bad idea with Comicsgate, though. I think Comicsgate professionals should be slow to express views that are going to upset people. Look at what you're pointing out to me here. For example, it's a trap. Hunter Barnhart says, "Hey EVS, how can I contact you to talk Indiegogo comics?" Well, you can always send me an email, Ethan ETHAN 12032 @gmail.com, and that's fine. Jeffrey Turner, aka MegaJetty1, says, "You got old Ben Kenobi look going, dude. Compliment." Okay. My beard went white this year. It didn't used to be completely white. Now, I'm telling you, by the end of the year, I'm going to be Santa Claus. The stress of all of this stuff going on has done something to me. I don't mind it. I like it. I have to say, I like the way I look. I'm happy with it. I think I look better than I've ever looked in my life. I'm growing old gracefully. I was a goofy-looking kid. I was a fugly-looking 30-year-old. And I like the way I look now. I like my beard. I like going gray. I don't know. I think it's cool. It's like my life is getting better and better in a strange way. It's like I have way more stress than I ever had before, but I'm happier. I'm way happier. I think that's entirely because of Andrea, entirely because of Ava, entirely because of Comicsgate, entirely because of Cyberfrog. I gotta say I like it. Skid Racket says, "How thick is Cyberfrog? Looking for a frame on Amazon." How thick is it? Like, how thick is the book? I don't know. It feels like to me like an oversized comic book. The paper is thin. It's an 80-page book, but we used thinner paper so that it could fit within the chromium cover. It was basically a choice between chromium cover or thick paper, and I went, we better do the chromium cover. That's the thing. Maximum Caffeine says, "Hey Ethan, 45 is the new 30. 100% agree. I feel great. Mr. Morden says, "Andrea equals why you look so young." Andrea makes me happy every day. Who cares? Like, who cares about any of this? Because Andrea is upstairs. Captain Deadpool says, "You look odd when younger. I like you this way." I feel the same way. I know. I look at the old images of me and I'm like, what am I doing, dude? I just look at a wad of dough. C-Pain says, "Cyberfrog is thick." It's okay. I don't know if it's thick. It's a heavy book. There's a lot of... Here's the thing. I mean, ultimately, you read it and it takes a long time to read. A lot of pages in that book. Charlie Brett says, "But the team-up cover got neither." The problem with that is that if we wanted to do a spine on the team-up cover, we would have had to print a whole new batch of insides. It would have been ridiculously cost ineffective. They just kind of said, no. How's that? We're just going to throw this cover on this. And that's the thing. Casey says, "Uncle E went white fast. Look at his video at Michael's. Check your cortisol levels. Get some solid straight sleep. Not 4 hours here, 4 hours there." I can't help it. I have to work all the time, I can't just do whatever I want. Captain Deadpool says, "Go accept age gracefully." I like it. I'm telling you, it's a cool thing. The older I get, the happier I am. I hope I live to be 80. I hope I'm halfway through my life. Cave Radius says, collection of the latest Cyberfrog saga in an absolute format when done. DC absolute books are awesome. Thoughts? 100% agree. So the plan will be, let's get, well, let me tell you what I'm going to do. When we put out Wrecked Planet, okay, there's going to be, you can get Wrecked Planet, which is going to be just like this, or you could also get, I'm going to print up a trade paperback of both of them together. So for new fans coming on board, you'll be able to get the story so far, essentially, in one thick book. So you'll be able to get Wrecked Planet and Blood Honey as a soft cover. And it's going to be, I mean, look, that's going to be, let me just add it up real quick. 80, 48, 128 plus another 20, 148 pages. 148 pages of trade paperback. So it's going to be a kind of a thick trade, and it's going to be another chance to print this book and get it on nicer paper. You know, this time it will have a square binding. You know, that's the plan. And then ultimately, when the first season is done, all 4 books are finished and all 4 ash cans. Then we'll do a big, thick, absolute format, hardcover that we'll offer to people. Let's see here. D Loves All Things says, EVS, your facial hair hides your second and third chin. Yeah, that helps. It does help. That's why you want to grow it longer. Like, you know, this part has to be long so it covers up my frog neck. It looks good. I'm reading all your chats. Brett Norris says, with WP having fewer pages, will you... Oh, WP's Wrecked Planet. It's actually RP. Wrecked is spelled like internet spelling. R-E-K-T. Wrecked Planet. Having fewer pages, will you use thicker paper? Yeah, we're going to get it right this time. That's the whole point. It's going to be 48 pages. It's going to have a special cover. They sent me over a list of all of the different kinds of variant specials they could do. And I'm looking at them. First, I'm trying to decide what this cover is going to be. Initially, I had done a piece, and it's not finished yet, of Salamandroid on the Statue of Liberty. You know, crawling up like King Kong style on the arm of the Statue of Liberty, which is covered up with, honeycombs and bees just all over him. That's not going to be the case because it's just not going to. That is not the cover for the next book for a bunch of reasons. You'll see why. I'm thinking that the next piece is going to be Cyberfrog armed with stingers and just covered in just welts and effed up. That's going to be the next cover. So what do I do that's going to be suitable? What kind of special cover? We could just do Chromium again. Yeah. And then we're gonna have the ash can for that is gonna be called Salamandroid Death's Sting. Death, where is thy sting? Salamandroid Death's Sting. And that is going to tell you the story of what happened immediately after Salamandroid was attacked by the Vespis and where he's been. Okay, so that's a 20-page book. You do not want to miss these ash cans. You don't want to miss them. I know, it's like they're smaller books. I don't even know if I want to make them small anymore. I might want to just call them ash cans and just make them full-size comics. But Salamandroid Death's Sting is going to be unmissable. It's going to be totally awesome. So... let's see. The Chrome covers are shipping. Yes. Hi, baby. Do you need me? You want to... Who? Who is that? Who's at the other end of that?
I'm not kicking anyone. We have soccer at 12.
Oh, you got soccer. Oh, okay.
I'm kicking you.
I thought you were like, okay. All right. Andrea came down and made a kicking gesture, and I was like, who gets the boot there? All right, so you're going to soccer, and that means I got to watch Ava?
Or you can come with. It's a beautiful day.
I might want to go with. It is a nice day out.
60-degree day in the day.
Yeah. Okay, Stephen Payne, thanks for $5. Uncle E, is Wrecked Planet going to have a chromium cover? Maybe. I haven't decided yet. Maybe we keep them consistent. I don't know. Also, the Chelson describing Blood Honey as it happened scene was perfection. Oh, thanks. Appreciate that. Yeah, okay, so maybe I'll go watch the kids play soccer. you know. Soccer. You know, go do that. Let me just catch up on what you guys said while I was looking away. Jeffrey Turner says, difference between graphic novel and illustrated novel. Graphic novel is a comic book. Illustrated novel just means it's a novel with spot illustrations, right? You know? So I think that would be the difference. Okay, everyone, thank you. Wow, thank you for all the super chats today. I love you too. Appreciate it. I'm going to go watch some soccer. Beautiful October weather. Feels like autumn. And I hope you guys have a great day. Yeah, go enjoy family time, EVS, leave us chuckleheads. I will, but I'll be back a little bit later. Maybe I will come back and do another live stream tonight. You go, leave the chair. You want to just do? I'll leave it. I'll just leave it on chair stream. No, I better not. All right, love you guys, and see you again. See you again soon. Bye bye.